guys. Bobby Roast Beef here, Jigs and friggin' Bigs for this Tuesday morning for you guys. We're dropping this thing, as we normally do each and every week. We had a great show lined up for you. This week, we are highlighting a very, very interesting product. If you're a living organism and you enjoy fishing and you are one of these living organisms that needs to eat in order to survive, we have a product that you might be really interested in. We got Ryan Fish from Boat Snackz here. He's going to talk about sort of the evolution of his product line and something really cool that they've launched and is they're expanding the product line quickly. So that's coming up in the beef seat. Who the fuck is Joe Brown and we got to get caught up because it was the holiday weekend, the Grand Poobah holiday weekend, Independence Day, ladies and gentlemen. What went down? What kind of fishy adventures? What kind of fishy shit did we get into? We're going to tell you all that stuff. What's on the docket? All kinds of stuff. We got not one, but two amazing questions in our live well segment this week. We got a little bit of a tip for you. And in just the tip, it's my first time I'm able to drop something that is specifically bait finesse oriented, but it's one of those things where if you tried this before, this might be a little bit of a way to have a better experience doing it. We will see you guys in just a bit. More Jigs and Bigs goodness coming up right after this. How we doing, folks? Hope everybody's having I hope you had a great week. I hope you had a great holiday weekend for Happy Independence Day, everybody. We're exactly 4 days late to that party, but it's pretty good. Joe, how are you doing?
I'm doing good, man. How are you?
I'm good, man. I had a little bit of a brain fart today. I sent you the link for the StreamYard, and I was like,
"Is dude in California? Are we doing this tonight?"
And it just never registered. I was like, "Is it this week or what is it?" But that's coming up. Your everything is typical right now. How was your holiday weekend?
It was good, dude. It was busy. That was the busiest 4th of July weekend Meg and I have had in years.
No shit.
We were doing something each and every day.
No kidding. Okay.
Cookouts and full 12 hours on the water on the lake, with friends and stuff.
That's awesome, though.
Yeah, I got smoked. I got so sunburned.
Oh, hell yeah. You look sunburned. You got the fucking...
Oh, yeah.
Hell
dude.
yeah, dude.
My nose and face have had it this year with me.
Oh, yeah. They're pissed. I have the weirdest tan. The weirdest tan. My face and my entire head is tanned actually pretty good. The raccoon eyes aren't terrible, but my tan is so fucked up because I've got a lot of color on my hands, but since I'm always wearing long sleeves, it's it's ridiculous. Yep. Right down to my wrist.
I go through the same thing.
I'm like, you son of a bitch.
Yeah.
But it was a good 4th of July overall. I did a lot of fishing this weekend. I got a lot in. It's funny. Good. I'm going to be dropping. I just put a video up, and I'm waiting for some updated promo codes from Dark Horse Tackle because I have a video that is uploaded and it's just sitting unlisted right now. But it's going to drop momentarily, and I've been doing a lot more with breaking down my gear that I use. And when I'm talking about baits, I'm trying to send links over to Dark Horse Tackle and stuff, and I haven't used the tools to create affiliate links for specific products. So what I had a conversation with Zach today, and he's going to get us a couple of additional promo codes to put out there for the bait shop, and they'll be save X amount of dollars on a purchase of X. You drop X amount, you'll save $5, I think, something like that. So it's pretty cool. It's a nice number that you know what it is. Similar to the Chill Steel Pipes promo code as well.
Gotcha.
I don't know why I'm going on that tangent already. Let's let everybody know what the hell's going on, folks. This is a fishing podcast called Jigs and Bigs. We drop a show every single week, a big,
hot, steaming show just for you to enjoy.
It's hosted by myself, Bobby Roast Beef, and Joe Brown, American Vet Fishing. And we bring you some fishy entertainment, and hopefully we can teach you some stuff along the way. We spur really good conversation. That's really what we're all about here. We each have our own YouTube channels as well. You can check out for some video content. American Vet Fishing on YouTube. Also Jigs and Bigs on YouTube as well. We're also on all the socials. Jigs and Bigs, American Vet Fishing. Check it out. It's a good thing. You will hear us mentioning some names, like we've mentioned Todd Sefton, we've mentioned Eli and Brandon, and a bunch of different folks that are in here. Those are our Jig Heads folks. They are subscribers over at Patreon. And as we record this program, as we're recording this, we're doing it via a live stream exclusive to the Patreon feed. So they're able to sort of engage with us as the process happens and kind of, question us and call us on stuff, remind us on things. It's really a good thing. It's really good. You'll get to know the community the more you listen to it. Of course, jigsandbigs.com is the website. You can go there for all the Jigs and Bigs stuff you are looking for. In fact, I have news about jigsandbigs.com. I was very busy this week. Very busy this week, and I was very, very upset about one very specific thing. Let's actually dive right into that. So, over at jigsandbigs.com, we've got a bunch of if we want to save you money, obviously, on products that you're going to buy to fish, or even lifestyle products as well that are fishy adjacent. So all that stuff is listed there as well. But we've got, merch for the show. If you want to, rock a hat, a t-shirt, a hoodie, get some stickers for your car, your boat, we got you covered all there. What happened this week was kind of crazy. Recently this year, you probably remember this, Joe, I was going on and on about how the website needed a refresh. It needed to be streamlined. Sure. And I realized that what I needed to do was lean heavily on the service that we use, Linktree. We use Linktree on our socials, and I share it all over the place. But it's a great way to put links for our partners and links to find the podcast and all this stuff. And Linktree was really great. Well, on a previous episode, we had a guest who was from Chill Steel Pipes, and they were gracious enough to offer us a discount code for our listeners and our audience, which is awesome. It's $20 off of your purchase over at Chill Steel Pipes. Chill.store. You can go check it out over there and use the code Jigs and Bigs. You'll save $20. It's awesome, right? Now, Bobby Roast Beef. I'm gonna lay on this grenade myself. Bobby Roast Beef is a big fan of the fish whistle. We have some fish whistle talk coming down the road. Chill makes a product that is right up my alley, 100%, and I love this thing. Used it on the boat this past weekend. It was awesome. So I put up a link on the Linktree, thinking I was doing a favor for all of the Jigs and Bigs listeners and anybody who wanted to, save themselves some cash and go do this. And I noticed this was, I guess, last week, it would pop up and say dangerous URL. And I thought it was because the website was chill.store instead of a .com, So I did what made sense. I went to a URL shortener with our affiliate link, shortened the URL, put it in there, and it seemed to work. I was like, awesome, no problem. A few days go by, no big deal. And then somebody, I forget who it was, had sent me a DM and they're like, hey, your website's down. I'm like, what? So I go to jigsandbigs.com and the landing page shows up, the click here to open links, and that is just a redirect to send you to the Linktree directly. It's that easy. I was like, okay, so the website's not down. What the frick is going on? No, Linktree decided that it was against their community standards for me to sell a double wall insulated bong. So after they pulled this all down, I went looking in my email and I found I think the day before, they had sent an email basically saying hey, your account's been restricted, because of this situation. So I appealed to it and I said, listen, I didn't realize that was the reason that was an issue. I'll gladly take the link down and use every single other channel I have to push this affiliate code or this affiliate link and promo code to give some value to the followers that we have. But I was like, if you could reinstate the account, that would be great. And you know what they said?
Fuck you, Bobby Roast Beef.
That's what they told me. Almost verbatim. So Linktree is from Australia. I am amazed that I heard back from them as quickly as I did. Because I think I messaged them sometime in the afternoon here. So it was real early hours of the morning when I first messaged them.
Yeah.
And they were just like, we've reviewed your appeal and we're saying no, fuck off. So Bobby Roast Beef had to scramble and create a Linktree alternative. It's this website, lnk.bio. And they don't have all the features that Linktree had, which is kind of upsetting. Like the ability to have a one click for the hotline, that's no longer there. But we have all the stuff. And I did not put the affiliate link for Chill. I actually am going to reach out to them before I do and say, I'm going to send you a link. You tell me if you have a problem with it. I won't put it on there. Because you know what I mean? Because if Linktree can't be fucking adults and let somebody say like, hey, I realized this was a problem. It's not like they notified me initially when they first pulled the link down. Had they did, I wouldn't be so pissed off. But they didn't. So I was like, okay. That's cool. So, yeah, I had to scramble like midweek to get this together. Got it together. We got a bunch of links that are already on there. It's not the prettiest thing ever. I am going to be tinkering with it, but at least the links are there. So if you want to go support, Dark Horse Tackle or Omnia or A-Bay Lure Lab, Reaction Tackle, all of our partners, they're all there. Yeah, really. You know what, Eli? You're right.
FTG to Linktree.
I didn't even think about that, Eli. You're 100% right. So yeah, that fucking sucked. That really sucked. But the good news is that Chill Steel Pipes double wall insulated water bong is going to get a fucking workout this weekend. Because I've got plans to go to Jersey, and I've got plans to go out and fish with two listeners, Chris and Brandon. Brandon's in here right now. Brandon White. He's one of our buddies that I'll be fishing with, and it's going to be the SS Fish Whistle at this point. It's pretty much the way it's going to work. So it's going to be good. It's going to be a good time. How was your week for fishy shit, Joe?
Yeah, so I got out one time this week. This weekend, just because it was so friggin' busy with everything. I got my thank you to Thayer Marine. I got my
that's right, my
new 360 in, and I installed that, got that on, so that's finally back up and running. But no, dude, I went in the morning down to the local haunt down here.
Yep,
down by my house. Fish till I ended up having a great day. Like I started with topwater and I got there kind of late. Oh God, yeah, let's talk about this, dude. So I get to that boat ramp, and you know what boat ramp I'm talking about. It maybe has spot for like 5 vehicles, maybe 6. Dude, so a bunch of fucking assholes left their like vehicles and trailers overnight to save spots at the ramp.
I fucking hate that shit.
Dude, so it was already booked, and they put signs like on the side of the road because it was the East Brookfield fireworks. So everyone was on Saturday. This is Friday I'm talking, but so they started to put the signs out, dude. So I'm like, so I put my boat. I go to put my boat in a spot on the road, right there on the road, right by the lake, right there.
Yep.
And I'm like, they have the signs like temporary police order. So I was like, yeah, okay. So I pulled one of those out, threw it in the bed of my truck, and like with the tonneau cover and the thing. So this to make myself some room. I was like, I'll just put it back. I'll put it back when I'm done.
Yeah. There you go.
So I pull in, and dude, I look and I'm like, oh God, my trailer's still like way in the road. I'm like, fuck it. I'm like, it'll be fine. I do this all the time. As I'm like doing that, a cop comes by.
Of course.
Local guy. I know him. Well, he's a real good guy. He's just like, dude. He's like, you can't park there. He's like, you're sticking in the road so much. I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, all right. So luckily for me, I don't know if I told you this, so my sister, down on the end of that road on Route 9.
Yep.
So there's that little cutoff road that goes up to the right up there. My sister lives up there. So I ended up going to my sister's, luckily they have space, drop my trailer off at my sister's and just drove my truck back and just parked my truck. So, it's still, extra pain in the ass, but it was still fine. So I finally get on the water about 7:45, and I was expecting like usually the smallmouth topwater bite in the morning there is stellar. And it just wasn't that day. Like I threw it for a few minutes. I was like, these spots I'm throwing it, like I would have gotten hit by now.
Yep.
So I was like, all right. I was like, well, let's start looking at some ducks and some shade, because it was kind of warm already. So I threw on the
Friday
wacky
was
rig.
crazy.
And like immediately I start hitting, didn't catch one smallie, which was weird for that place.
Yeah,
but dude, I was catching some nice largemouth. I was, I probably got like 5 good ones.
That's not bad.
All in and around docks or a shade, just cover. Dude, I used the whack thing I really picked up. So I did that, and then they have the town beach there. So Meg brought the kids down there. So I was like, oh, perfect. I was like, yeah, bring the kids down to the beach. I'll like beach the boat, like whatever, and maybe we'll take a little stroll around. So I beach the boat, I see them, and then it's lunchtime. So Meg's like, well, why don't we go over to 308, bring the boat over to the restaurant, and have a lunch. I'm like, and she's like, we can have a couple drinks. It's 4th of July weekend.
Of course.
I'm like, I love that idea. Yeah. So me, Meg, and 3 kids on the Icon putted over there, tied it off, had a good lunch, and then as we're there, my brother texts me. He's like, "Hey man, you on the lake? Like, I just got I'm heading over there, because he just got a boat, not a fishing boat, but like a ski boat." He's like, "Dude, we're heading over there." I'm like, okay. I'm like, I tell Meg, I was like, oh, I have a feeling it's going to turn into a day today. So I didn't get much fishing done after that, but, or any after that actually. But so, yeah, we, ended up meeting up my brother and some other friends we have who has a big pontoon boat. And dude, we literally just like anchored off and like almost towards like not the middle of the lake, but off to the side at like near a cove.
Yep.
And we just tied the boats together and we were out there till like 8 o'clock at night, dude. Just
no shit.
There's like 10, 12 kids, they're all swimming, jumping off the boats.
Hell yeah.
And lots of drinks, and we had a blast. We had a good time. That's where I got smoked and burnt. Meg got so burnt, and then we went to the friend's house that lives on the lake for dinner, and again we had another day. And
that's awesome, dude.
Yeah, woke up the next day. Had to cart the kids around because they had like cookouts and stuff, like kids cookouts they're going to. And then we ended up going to a cousin of mine's house for a party. So it ended up turning into another night. And then kind of took it easy yesterday. Worked in the garden a little bit, like kind of just chilled.
Gardening.
And did some, help Meg, trim up some stuff. All of her vegetables are starting to come in. So
nice.
We're doing that. Just kind of ran some errands and then back to work today, man.
Nice. Dude. That's awesome, dude.
I do have an FTG that I want to do.
You do? Okay, let's hold it for the FTG
lifetime
segment.
FTG.
That's perfect. That's perfect. Okay, good. I'm glad because I was a little surprised, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah. Yep.
I had a week. Like I fished on Monday. We talked about that. I had a good time. This was last week. All was good, but I had a lot going on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday that I really wasn't able to make it out for like a full and proper send necessarily. I think there was a bank send that I had taken like randomly some afternoon and gotten the skunk hard. Like it was a brutal day. It was just one of these days where like the weather, like it was crystal clear skies with like just no wind whatsoever freaking ever. It was brutal. So this whole week I had been planning on like, I'm sending it on Friday. I'm sending it on Saturday. I might send it on Sunday. We'll see what happens. I went out and I fished. So I was making plans to fish on Friday. And again, this was the 4th, man. This was the day. And I was like, I'm really, really looking to go where no rec boats are necessarily going to be. But what complicates this is that I was making plans to fish with Becca and with Lila and the new addition at the Becca and Lila house, Nova. Nova's the new pup. And I was lucky enough to be the first boat that Nova were to get on in her life, like ever.
Hell yeah.
What a great dog. What a great dog. I don't want to give away too much. I do have a family photo that I will share. I took this great picture. So, Becca's like, Nova, like, I'm thinking like Nova's going to have no problem being in the car for however long. It's not an issue, because she's driven like 5 hours from where the camp is in Maine all the way down to Massachusetts. And I'm thinking, yeah, this is gonna be a problem. Dude, Becca's like a brand new first-time mom right now. I've never seen her like this. Bro, she is run ragged. I've never seen Becca like this before. It's adorable.
It's a lab too, right?
No. She's part golden. But I guess there was a DNA test that they had sent out for to determine specific breeds because they don't know who the father is. Like the mother's a golden. She got out one night, pulled the goalie, boom, and it was what it was,
Becca, I know exactly how your dog feels.
Right. Yeah, actually, yes, you do. Yes, you do. 23andMe.
Dude, did you see the picture that I put up on Facebook?
I did.
There's no denying it. That's 100%. My brother, dude.
Yes.
That's like, I had a couple people reach out. They're like, how did you guys, because we grew up together, like, how did you guys not fucking know?
Figure that out. Exactly. Isn't it crazy? Although it is weird. Sometimes people are just, although it makes you wonder, like I've known people that look very similar and you're like, they're not related. And you're like, are they?
Jake heads, if you guys are paying attention, I got to show you something. I don't have you guys all on Facebook, but for those of you who don't know, I found out I had new siblings, and this is that's my brother in the back. So I don't think it's in that my little nephew, but I don't think there's much denying that him and I
family resemblance 100%, dude. I was like, oh my God. And it's funny. I was just thinking about this the other day, Joe. It was like your first or second episode on the show, and you were like, "Hey guys, guess what?" Oh. And we were like, "Holy shit!" It was wild. Those of you that have been listening for a while know what we're talking about. But Joe recently discovered that he has a much larger family than he thought. All because of science.
All because of science,
all because of fucking science. So
all because Meg wanted to see how Irish I actually am.
Exactly. As if the sun tanning didn't fucking say everything that you need.
I know.
Right?
I know.
Oh my God. So we are. We go out, we had a great time. And so Becca hits me. Of course, like when you go fishing on my boat, and Brandon, you're going to want to know this, mi casa su casa. I roll with all my gear. Help yourself. Like, that's how it is. If I invite you on my boat, yes, absolutely. If I'm catching them on something, I've got others. I want you to be catching fish as well. Feel free to tie whatever on. I am not concerned with that. So I'm all about that. Becca is not shy. She's like, oh, my gear's up in Maine. And I'm like, all right, it's all good. We're good to go. And she's like, Lila's just going to throw a wacky. That's her jam. I was like, I got that. Don't worry about it. She's good to go. So we get out there, right? And Becca's like, she suggests 2 bodies of water. And we're going back and forth looking at I think we were looking at Omnia maps and Fishbrain to kind of get an idea of what the structure was like. And also we were looking for how many people lived on the lake so we could get an idea. And honestly, it was a crapshoot either way. So we went with the smaller of the two, thinking that it wouldn't be as appealing to folks with these speedboats to go on a small body of water. You know what I mean? Like a larger body of water might be the move. So we went to this spot. Also, there was a lot more depth at this one spot than the other. So we agree. We're good to go. We're good to go. And everything's cool. We're having a good time. Becca's like, I'm going to go over here. And when Becca gets on the boat, I just give her the remote to the trolling motor. I'm like, you do what you want to do. I'll be on the back casting deck. I'll make things happen. It's fine. We all caught fish. And this lake is set up really great. There's the longest stretch of lake along the banks on either side. There's buoys that say no wake all the way down. So the only way you can be up on plane is going across the middle of the lake back and forth. It's not an appealing lake for wreck boaters that have the need for speed or jet skis at all, So I think that's one way that they kind of cut it down because we really didn't have anything super crazy going on. I get to this spot. I think I left the house at 5 o'clock and we weren't looking for an early bite or anything. I get there and there's a guy, of course, parked right in front of the ramp. I'm like, I pull in and just you.
The fuck is going on here?
So I go, I start, getting the boat prepped and everything, start getting all my gear out and everything. And this guy pulls around and he's like, oh, yeah. He's like, he asked me some kind of a question. He's like, just so you know, they nuked the weeds in here yesterday. And I'm like, I kind of expected if they were going to, like, this is the time of year that it's going to happen. Like, I'd say 2 weeks before and then 2 weeks following the 4th. That's like prime time where they're just like, hey, let's add a bunch of fucking chemicals to this body of water. And, fuck it. Nobody's going to have to clear their fucking docks of any weeds.
Weird that they do it when they think people are going to be in the water.
I know. Isn't it awesome? Well, and here's what I thought. I was like, so first off, all the grass that we saw, all the pads, everything, super fucking healthy looking. Like, and that's what I said when Becca got there. I was like, I don't think that guy, I think that guy was just trying to throw me off or get me to say like, oh, fuck this place and go elsewhere. That's what I think he was doing. I don't know. So I was like, oh, well, we'll see what's going on. So I go and I get everything all set up and everything. And, one of my cameras recorded like for a little bit. They had a little bit of a brain fart. I don't know what the fuck happened, to be perfectly honest with you. Plus, I didn't have the ultra wide angle on it, so the footage is all fucked up. I got a couple of clips of us catching some fish. Becca caught the most. I think she caught 2 or 3. Lila had the lunker for the day. Lila caught a tank. Like a tank. In fact, I'm gonna show you guys I'm gonna show you the family photo that I took with Nova. And look at the size of this fish Lila's got. It's just fucking beautiful.
Hell yeah.
Fucking awesome. Fucking absolutely awesome. We had a great time. It was a blast. We fished for like 3 or 4 hours, and then we're just like, you know what? Everybody's caught fish. It's cool. They wanted to get back and get Nova, out of the sun and everything. Totally understand that. I decided, I was like, maybe I'll go fish elsewhere. We'll figure it out. And I'm trying to figure out places, and I'm driving, keep in mind, I'm driving back from like South Shore area. And I'm like, do I want to hit something in Central Mass? Do I want to go? I wanted to avoid the river. I wanted to avoid wreck boats. But at this point of the day, it's like where people are just like, oh, you know what time it is? It's
time to be a douchebag on the public waterways.
It's like that 11 a.m. window. I'm like, there's no way I'm not gonna get struck with some kind of like an assault charge. There's no way it's happening. So I opt instead to just come home, get some shit done around the house, and then plan to go out first thing Saturday morning. And I'm texting Paul back and forth, and sometimes making plans with Paul is ridiculous. Sometimes the only way I'm able to make it happen is if I drop like a keyword that just gets his attention,
Yeah.
And the keyword this time was
top water.
I was like, bro, looking at the weather, look what we're going to have for wind, what we're going to have for everything else. I say we just say, fuck it. We get up at like 4 o'clock in the morning and we get to the lake at this specific time. Now, we went to a spot with a really small launch that was a really small body of water, and most of the pleasure boats that are going to be there, they're going to be, people in pontoons just doing laps. So I'm like, let's get there first thing because this is going to be a late start for them. And I think we fished until right about 12 in total. I brought Eleanor out for the day, and she was chilling, having a good time. I just edited a video that it's a single camera video because my battery for the second cam died. There's some shit I got to do with that other camera. When it's great, but when it's not, it's not. So I put together this video. It's a little all over the place. Now I will say Friday and Saturday, I did something for the first time on the boat that I haven't done since I got the boat. I played the fish whistle game, where I wait till I catch a fish and then I allow myself a rip off the fish whistle. And it was, granted Friday I only caught one. It was a dink. But which is fine. And then I was like, all right, so this is all right. This is cool. Confidence is there. We're in good shape. Saturday, Paul and I get out there. I tell him, I'm like, just in case it's like fire, I go, why don't you follow me to the lake? That way he had something he had to do in the afternoon. I was like, I'll bring you back, drop you off. I'll continue to fish if it's worth it. If it's not, then I'll yank the boat out and head home. It was not worth it. I think I caught 5 or 6 all day. A bunch of those were pickerel. I caught two topwater fish. Both of them hit on the Anthem top prop. And Paul was a whopping and a plopping as well, with like a no-name Amazon plopper, like about that same kind of size, like a 90-ish. Like, I mean, the Anthem is larger, but, you know, and he caught, like, I think 2 or 3. He actually got the first fish in the boat, not too far off the ramp. He just made this rogue cast, and there's a spot on this lake, and I was like, the reason why I think that topwater is going to work, and this is a spot we need to target, is there's a lot of submerged vegetation. So you don't have like mats or anything that are hitting the surface. So like a prop bait, a walking bait would do the job. Like a lot of those treble hook baits are going to be great going along the surface. And I was like, you know, but worst case scenario, I'm like, I want to have a frog on deck. So I tied on a bunch of stuff that I wanted to try. One of those things was the Wee Whacker. And I'm impressed with the Wee Whacker. I am really impressed. I was throwing it on my the combo that I use for like jigs and Neds, my BFS combo. That's the Arc Gravity BF rod with the Tatula. And actually, I had that reel spooled with braid. Something happened on that trip. And I made a judgment call, and I made a change there on the water, and it was huge. We're going to talk about line in just the tip. Yeah, and I think like we fished around the perimeter of that lake like 1.5 times. It's small, it's not huge, but I think we were the only boat putting fish in the. We were the only boat that put fish into the boat at all. Like I think everybody else that was fishing around us was really struggling. Oh, Zach says, I bought the very last Anthem top plop. Should we restock? I would. I would, because there's a little bit of a feature. There's a little bit of a feature in this video I'm about to drop too. Like we talk about it, and I actually talk about purchasing that last one. I can't wait to get the bone one.
We're talking about the metal one, right?
Yep, with the aluminum blade.
I have two of them. I friggin' love them.
They're great.
I grabbed it.
Loud.
I grabbed the I called or texted Zach because I have a black one. I was like, man, I want something with a little bit more color.
Yep.
And I text, actually, when I think I was down at West Point, and I go, dude, I was like, I need this in another color. He's like, I just so happen to have a chartreuse one. I was like, buying it right now.
Yep.
Like, send it.
100%. So
those things are awesome.
It is awesome. Brandon says, what lure? I'll show you exactly what I'm talking about, man. It is a great bait. It is a great bait. So let's go. You know, I fished my ass off. It was fantastic. This video was a little bit different because this is the first time where I have been hitting the fish whistle, and there's a couple of like random sort of conversations that go on that I leave people in the loop with in this video that I normally would cut out, but I'm like, no, these are kind of fucking interesting. It was just good. I mean, we were catching them on topwater early. It was about like 9 a.m. No, it was even earlier than that. It was probably more like 7:45, 8 o'clock, something like that, where the topwater bite kind of just died for us. Finesse swim baits were the move. Initially, I got more bass fishing a variety of finesse jigs, some heavier, like in a more conventional size, downsize some to try to elicit more bites. Didn't work the way I had planned. And then at the end of the day, I just started getting sloppy. I think I caught like the final pickerel of the day. I missed a bass off of a dock. And then we loop around this one area where there was this point where now there was shade kind of coming off of one side of the point. And I made this cast up way shallow. And what I really think was the move, it wasn't any specific pattern or any specific presentation. I think this is one of those days where like, if you hit the fish in the face with a bait, they were going to react and they were going to bite it. I missed the biggest fish of the day. And it was so fucking fun. Because you know how I have this like ongoing thing now with like Creed. Like, for those that aren't aware, I'm not a big fan of Creed. I'm really not. I am a Gen Xer. We canceled Creed before canceling shit was a thing. We put them away. Same thing with Limp Bizkit. What the fuck is wrong with the world? Anyway, we put that away, and now like there's this resurgence. You know, I mean, I understand why. There's the younger generations, millennials and Gen Z. For them, it's nostalgic. You know what I mean? Like it's just nostalgia. I get it. It's cool. But I've kind of been having fun with that. And it seems, I mean, I hate to say it, but when I was in St. Clair, I fucking called it. I was like, I'm going to put on Creed radio on Spotify and I'm going to start catching. And I did. And the power of Scott Stapp has been with me since. And I've been having a little bit of fun with that back and forth. Well, Scott didn't do a whole lot for us, but I think he was testing us. I think he was testing us a little bit. I think that's what was happening. But as we rounded this spot to get over where the shady point was, a band I hate even more started playing. Fucking Stained. And it's been a while. And I made a joke.
So
go ahead.
I don't like Stained, but I like Aaron Lewis.
I hear it. I'm not a big fan of either, to be perfectly honest. I'm not a big fan of either, to be totally honest. Like it is what it is. It's been a while is on, and I make a comment, and it's in the video. I go, yeah, Aaron Lewis, it has been a while since we've had a bite. And as I say that, I'm making a cast. I hit this fish, the biggest, it would have been the biggest one of the day. I was like, holy shit. And I try to set the hook and I'm stumbling all over myself. And this fish shakes right the fuck off. And I'm like, you motherfucker. And I was like, so help me God. And this isn't in the video, but I said to Paul, I was like, so help me God. Like, that's the new thing. I've replaced Creed with Stained. Oh, God. I don't know if I can live with myself with that. Nobody wants that. Zach says it right. He says that is the power of talking of talking yourself into confidence. You're right. It is 100% largemouth music. Jesus, yes, largemouth music. Oh my goodness. But yeah, he says, don't be fooled, man. You can make this shit happen with only the right perspective and attitude. No, 100%. Attitude, you don't need Creed. More than anything, I am having fun because this is the second video. Is it the second video in a row? It might be the second video in a row where I have a still image of Scott Stapp come in with a caption like, I'm still here, folks. I'm going to get sued. I'm going to get sued. And you know what? Come and get me. That's I got nothing to give you guys. I got a boat that's not paid off. What do you want? You want my shitty 100-year-old house? Okay. Fuck you. Take it off my hands. Oh, my God. Jay says God is on your side. Candlebox? Oh, wow. Now, back in the day, you see, nobody's living nostalgically for Candlebox these days. Nobody. But back in the day, I didn't hate Candlebox. I really didn't. I was much younger, so I didn't really have an understanding of all that stuff. But I think when Creed was coming into their own, it was more like,
nah, I think I'm all set.
You know what? On the lake the other day, when I was on there, I had a Jay Manning sighting.
You did? In the wild?
He was out on his boat in the wild with his oldest.
Nice, Jay.
It was good to see him, yeah.
That's awesome. Yep. Good for you, dude. I hope you caught him. I'm gonna imagine that you caught him. I'm gonna picture that you caught him. It's just like a fucking mess of crappie, you know?
I'm just glad he gets to know what it's like to have a toddler on the boat now, and he gets to feel the pain I had when I was bringing Emma with me all the time.
I gotta tell you, like, I don't know how you guys do that with little kids or dogs, even like with the bass boats. I would be so nervous because there's nothing really protecting them off the sides if they're up on the casting deck, especially little kids. Oh my God. At least my boat, I'm like, yeah, just stay in the tub. Don't be you know what I mean?
The good with Draco, he's understood. He finally understands for the most part. Like when we're gonna like get on plane, he knows to come down into the cockpit.
That's good. He'll get blown away otherwise.
Yeah, he's and like he kind of hates water, so I don't think he's ever going to jump in.
That's good. That's a good thing. Like you know, that's the thing. Like we're with Nova, and she's a swimmer. Like she loves to swim. Found a couple of islands where like very small islands. We took a bathroom break with Nova, and you know, it was I was 100% prepared to have doggy pee or poop on my boat and have to clean it up. I was ready for it. Nothing. That dog is an absolute sweetheart. Melted my heart immediately. Like.
Yep.
Absolutely.
That's awesome.
So we had a good time. I fished my ass off the pole, ended up with a really good video. We had a great time too. Saturday, I came home and I made dinner. It was just myself and Ace here. My wife, like, I guess her MO is to just work all day on whatever holiday it is. So she's like, yeah, I'm going to pick up a double. And I'm like, all right, there you go. So I was just chilling that night, you know, hanging out. Hitting the fish whistle nonstop. Got a few things prepped and ready for work. Sunday, I was debating the idea of going out. I was actually debating going out with Eleanor up the Shears. Oh no, that was today. I was thinking about it. I was like, yeah, maybe I'll go on Sunday. And then I'm just like, you know, I gotta work. I gotta do trivia tonight, which was amazing. Trivia on the patio at Delaney House is popping. It is great. We had such a good time. And my on today, my plan was to go up to Anoda and fish all day long with Eleanor. And I was like, you know what? I got a couple of things that I want to get finished, wrapped up, and ready to go. And I think tomorrow, and I'm actually going with a buddy of mine, Jimmy. I think we're actually going where you fish this weekend, Joe. I think that's the plan. We're going to go up there. We'll see what happens. And I'm like, yeah, it'll be a fun time. It'll be good. Probably only go for like maybe 4 or 5 hours, something like that, and then turn around and come back. Yeah. But it'll be a good time. I'm going to try and do some recording and get some video footage. Jimmy hasn't been on the channel in a while, so I think that'll be pretty cool. But man, we had ourselves a damn good time. It was a lot of adventure, you know, as far as, and a lot of drama with the website this week. But hey, things are back, and we're making the best of it.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my goodness. I got to see. Cheryl chimes in here. She goes, some of the great bands aren't very accessible. Tried getting tickets to Nine Inch Nails, over $300 for a good seat, over $100 for worse seats. You're 100% right. Concert tickets right now are hot garbage right now. Like concert tickets are insane. I recently this was Thursday night, I was at Trivia, and the Black Keys are playing in Springfield at the Mass Mutual Center. And I really don't really care. I'm like, whatever, that's fine. Gary Clark Jr. is the opening act. If you don't know, Gary Clark Jr. is like our generation's Hendrix. No bullshit. Absolutely no bullshit. The guy is absolutely amazing. And I'm like, I'm just so afraid to even look at ticket prices. I know they're going to be crazy. But it's on a Saturday. So that means I could go without having to cancel work and be out X amount of dollars. So it makes warranting it. But you're 100% right, Cheryl. Like, concert tickets are crazy, man. It's 100% nuts. Like, it's a full-time hobby. It's like you might as well have a boat. You know what I mean? For that amount of money. Todd says Gary Clark Jr. is tempting. Hell yeah. Well worth it. I have been a fan of his since the, Black and Blue album in like 2012. Like, unbelievable stuff. Absolutely unbelievable. I talked to Paul and I was like, hey, we're going to listen to some of this. And that's when I had to make the change on the playlist because it was great. But I'm like, I think I know what we need. I switched to Creed. Scott Stapp, you let me down. It was still status quo for the quality of fish and the numbers that we were catching. I thought things were going to get better. Cheryl says they're playing in New Hampshire with the same opening. I love them both. Tickets are super cheap here in New Hampshire. Oh, shit. Okay. Good to know. Good to know. I don't know, Joe. I think that about does it as far as like my week and how things have gone. If I remember anything else, I'll let you guys know. But why don't we go ahead and we'll jump into headlines and we'll see what's shaking.
All right. So if you listeners didn't have a reason, or you jig heads had no reason not to saltwater fish, this might give it to you because a white marlin spears offshore angler through the neck and the skull. Medical journals are reporting the gruesome tale of a white marlin that speared a Louisiana fisherman as he was reaching for this over the side of his boat to land the 60-pound fish. As the unnamed 31-year-old angler was trying to unhook it, the fish leapt from the water, its bill driving through the back of the angler's throat and into the base of his skull. The fisherman fell back into the boat in excruciating pain, according to the journal, and emergency workers had to rush him to a hospital where his x-rays didn't show much. CT scan, however, revealed that a 1.4-inch tip of the marlin's bill had broken off the fish and lodged itself into the angler's spinal cord.
Oh, my
Immediate
God.
surgery was required to remove the marlin's bill tip fragment. Miraculously, the angler walked out of the hospital 8 days later, fully cleared by doctors and of any infection or neurological damage. Such scary stories from billfish angling are rare, but they happen every year, and usually without a lot of fanfare or news of the incident. Mishaps usually occur as anglers and boat crews land giant and high-leaping billfish. Often, a raspy bill from a marlin or sailfish slashes across someone's arm, usually one person trying to land the fish, or by someone trying to land the fish, or by unhooking at the boat side. But speared hands, arms, and other damage do also occur regularly in blue water billfish fishing.
Jesus.
That's it. Nice short one.
You know, and you're right. I mean, this stuff does happen. I want to say there's like...
It's funny. They don't talk about this one, but this is a picture that they put up here. It's a totally different, where is it?
Let's see what we got. Holy shit, dude.
That's no bueno.
There is video of a woman. I think it's a woman that just straight up gets stabbed by a leaping billfish, like on one of these charters. Like, the fish just comes up and is like flying right in toward the boat, and just she takes the bill like right like through the chest. Like, it's bad. There's like famous video of this. That is brutal. Eli says that story is gonna grow and grow and grow every year. It was 400 pounds, then 1,000 pounds, and then 100%. It's gonna get a little bit more twisted every single time.
Oh yeah,
100%. Dude, that level of fishing is just I almost can't understand it. I can't comprehend it, because it's like have you ever talked to somebody who does like marlin tournaments?
I don't think I have.
There was one time I was. This is when. And as a matter of fact, it was in 2020. I don't even know how we managed to pull this off, but my buddy and I think we were sitting outside at a cigar shop, and we went in, got a couple of cigars, and we're talking, and he was asking me questions about the podcast and stuff, and his dude came up to buy some cigars as well, and he's like, oh yeah, this guy here, he's a fisherman too, except that this guy here is in the marlin scene and like drops millions of dollars every year in tournaments and paying a staff, in order to be able to do it. I'm like,
why?
Right.
You know what I mean? I'm like, I will lose my mind. Like,
seems like a lot of overhead right there.
It really does. I can't even imagine that. I cannot even imagine that. Oh, there is one more thing that we should talk about before we throw to break here, Joe. The Fish or Die tournament up at St. Lawrence.
Yes.
Now, I know, I was like, oh, that's what we should do. You and I, we should fish with our dads as our partners. Obviously, you're going to be fishing with Daddy Zek. I get it. That's all good. We might want to get creative, because I mentioned it to Binya, and I'm going to read the text that he sent me. He's 100% the guy I'm thinking of doing this with, but he says to me, he goes, so I'm going to throw this out there, and 100% tell me hell nah if it's not in the cards. But if you end up doing the Fish or Die tournament and want a partner, I could be convinced to go. And I think it would be awesome, because honestly, Binya and I, we fish together well.
Yeah.
We really do. Like, we fish together out of the boat a number of times. We work really, really well together. We fish differently. Like,
Sure.
I'm a little bit more like you, Joe, where like when I figure out a pattern, that's not leaving my hand. And if I have to Amazon drone drop some new plastics on the boat in order to make it happen, it's happening. You know what I mean? It's not going to leave my hand. Binya will switch things up much more freely, but he catches fish, and we're there and can back each other up, net job and the whole nine, and it's all like we're good like that. So I think this might be a thing, and maybe we can have a little bit of fun with this. In fact, there was something, and again, this is fish whistle activity. I had mentioned the idea of a little bit of a some kind of a contest or a way to engage. And I know I talked with you about this, Joe, and I was like, yeah, I think this is a really good idea. I got, that's right. That's right. It was a picture thing. Listeners, jig heads specifically, I want to know your thoughts on this, what you guys think. I'm thinking about starting a campaign called Jigs and Bigs Certified Studs.
Yes.
And this is not what you think it is. I'm not looking for unsolicited pics in that sense. What we're going to do is we'll pick a platform. So we'll roll out with one platform at a time. It'll be Instagram, it'll be Facebook, it'll be TikTok, it'll be YouTube, and we'll roll out and we'll do this in a different way. Basically, you'll just submit a pic or a video of an absolute unit, just an absolute giant. Maybe it's a giant for that one specific body of water. Maybe it's a giant for that specific presentation. Like you're like, oh, I caught an 18-inch bass on, 2-pound leader. Something like that. Like, you know what I mean? Like, if it's just a unit for that situation, go ahead and submit it. We'll go through them and we'll do a tier list. We'll rank them. And then what we'll do is we'll probably do this like on a live stream. Like, we'll let this go for a certain amount of time. Once we have enough submissions, like we'll set it like once we get 12 or more submissions, I think that's a good amount. Once we get 12 or more submissions, we'll schedule a live stream. We'll do this as a live stream, and then we're going to basically rank them. And then the ones that make that S tier, that very top tier, we're going to enter those in a raffle. And then we'll just select a winner and we'll do some kind of a prize. And we'll work with our partners. We'll get creatively ourselves. Like, it'll be interesting stuff, but we'll do some kind of a prize. It might be, the prize might be like a free entry to like the slot limit tournament of your choice or something like that. So you can get into it on the dime of Jigs and Bigs, like we could easily do something like that. I think that could be a whole lot of fun. And then you just submit as many fish as you want, and once we get 12 different people to do it, we'll go ahead and we'll rank all these fish. And we'll obviously take what we think is the best unit, and apply that. I think that could be a fun one, the best unit. That was not the right way to fucking say it. We'll take the lunker of whatever you submit, like the giant or the one that's the most impressive, and we'll put that into the running. It'll be pretty good. So you can keep it entered, and and if you're like, oh, I caught this one, it was a giant, but then you're like, I just broke my fucking PB, submit them both. And we'll take whatever one we like back. So it'll be a good time. We'll have ourselves some fun with it. It'll be pretty fun. Zach says, I smell a friendly St. Lawrence wager on the horizon. That's what I'm thinking. I think this could be fun. I know 100%. I kind of want to like. I kind of want to put it and make it interesting and have people submit like wagers on behalf of who they think is gonna outfish the other boat. Is it going to be the implication? What's the name of your boat, Joe?
Doesn't have one.
We're going to have to work on that.
I know.
Is it going to be the implication, or is it going to be Joe's boat that's going to be the victor out of this? And like, we're not talking about winning the whole thing. We're just talking about who's going to best who. That could be kind of fun. Mm-hmm. I just know that people are like, let's see, Joe, seasoned tournament angler, with, familiar with fishing this body of water. Bobby's just rolling up there, like throwing his particular brand of bullshit. So I don't know. We'll see. I would feel bad.
But that works, dude. That works.
It does work. That could be pretty good. Unit, you definitely getting unsolicited pics now. I know. It's fucking terrible. But I will share them publicly. So if you don't want them want me to do that, don't send them. I don't want to see your penis. That's what it gets down to, Zach. I have to fucking throw that out there and say that. I don't want to see your package. I don't. Not yours. Anybody's. Why are we even on this topic? Let's go ahead. Let's shift gears, guys. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be back. We have Adjust the Tip. Joe has an on-the-fly FTG, which, I mean, now it's all starting to fall into place. Independence Day weekend, you knew it was going to happen. We'll be back, and we'll have some. We'll have ourselves a good one. And then what else do we have going on in our live wall? We have technically 3 questions that we're going to go over in the live wall. All of them from one guy, but buckle up. It's going to be a good one, guys. Don't go too far. We will see you with more Jigs and Bigs right after this.
And perhaps play a little game called Just the Tip. Just for a second, just to see how it feels. Or ouch, ouch, you're on my hair.
Okay.
Alrighty, guys, here we are. It's segment number 2. It's Just the Tip. Now, I want to talk about something specifically that I realized happened when I was on one of my outings this past weekend. It was Saturday. Now, I mentioned earlier that I was throwing around a Wee Whacker, which is a micro buzzbait on one of my BFS setups. Now, this is the BFS setup that I generally will throw like small jigs and things like that on, bottom contact baits, Ned rigs, stuff like that. Not necessarily moving baits. But the topwater bite kind of had slowed, and I decided I was going to put on a jig. And what I was throwing was actually like a small EWG style Ned with a particular plastic. This is after, on a more conventional size of the exact same bait, I had got a couple of bites on. I had got a couple of fish that I put in the boat, and I thought maybe I could elicit more bites by downsizing a little bit. So here's the tip, guys. Don't be afraid. A lot of folks automatically figure with BFS braid to leader, myself included. I was 100%, braid to leader. It just makes sense. You get a higher pound test rating on a smaller diameter line. It does make sense. The problem is with using braid is that for certain presentations, like a jig where you're going to get bit and you're going to jack them pretty hard, that line can be so strong on that really fragile spool that it could actually bend out your spool. It can be a bit much. It can be a little bit too much when you need a little bit more give. So what I had done is I had right on the boat, I was about to tie a leader on, and I'm like, no, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to pull all this old braid off, and then I'm going to re-spool this line and I threw it with 6-pound fluoro. And the tip isn't, use fluoro. The tip is this.
Use less line.
And here's the reason. Bait finesse fishing is not a style of fishing where you're going to make these giant bomb casts necessarily and throw a bait super far and cover ridiculous amounts of water. It's more about precision. It's more about specific areas. You're talking about short distance casts. You really only need about a cast to a cast and a half on that spool. And the more line that you put on the spool, the heavier that spool becomes, the less casting distance you will actually get. So there's like this finite window of what you want for line that's on there. Now, I mentioned in the video that I just edited that I am in the market for a line counter, so that I can put this on my rod and know I'm putting exactly the right amount of feet or yards, whatever it measures in, on my spool and know what that's worth. There is some type of a formula that you can use to figure out if you know how many feet per crank you get on your reels when you're spooling them up. You can do the math and figure out how many cranks to get X amount of line on there to fill that spool. I was just winging it, and that's exactly it. Now, Eli says right here, he says, skipping, flipping, and pitching is the same way. It is, but it's not as critical, Eli. It's nowhere near as critical. Why? Because the baits are heavier and the line is heavier. The gear overall is larger and doesn't get so affected by these little fluctuations in weight. This all came from raw fishing. Jimmy Lai. Jimmy has been, he and I have been talking now for about a month and a half or so about all types of BFS, bait finesse fishing just in general. And, he's actually given me some really, really great tips, things that have been pretty awesome. And I'm going to share those as we continue down this road together. But I'll tell you, use less line. You don't need as much line as you think you do. Even when you're using braid, this isn't just a fluoro thing. When you're using braid as your main line, you need about a cast and a half. You know what I mean? Maybe 2 casts at the most. You know what I mean? You're talking about 100 feet of line. 120 feet will probably do it. I'm guessing. Again, this is why I need to get my hands on a line counter. This is what Jimmy had told me specifically was it's going to make your life way easier, 100%. Most people use a line counter for the other way. When you're trolling at a specific depth and you want to drop X amount of line. This is for spooling to, and when you're talking bait finesse, it does play, I think, a little bit more of a critical role in the equation. And I was amazed at how much better I got for casting. And let's be honest, with a spool that's that shallow, right? And that's what the thing is. These spools are so shallow, they only hold so much line anyway. When you spool this thing up, if you were to get a backlash that was so bad, now keep in mind, with all of my bait finesse reels that I've used, all 4 of them, I've never had a backlash that was so bad where I've been like, well, this one's done. Never happened. It's never happened. If you happen to be in that situation, you're also not cutting off 300 yards of line. You know what I mean? You're not cutting off this giant spool of line on a swim bait reel or something like that. You'd be cutting off small amounts. So you get a 200 yard spool of line of fluoro or braid or something like that, and you're gonna spool this thing up a few times. You'll be good. So just one of those things. Brandon says in here, he says spool and line counter. He goes, I wanted to get a spool of one of my combos with fluoro. And that's one thing I want to do. I'm going to be reaching out to ARC to ask if it's possible to buy more of those spools. I know I can with Daiwa. I know I can for my Tatula. But with the ARC stuff, specifically because they're so, I guess, so unique. The spool with the braking system is so unique. If they're available to purchase, I'd love to have one where I can have braid as my main line, and then I can have one ready to roll that's got fluoro right there, ready to go. So that's what it is. When you're getting your BFS gear together, consider the application. Don't be afraid to use fluoro. In fact, I really kind of like it. I'm very flexible. I'm not super picky about fluoro. Right now, I'm using some Yuzuri stuff that I really enjoy. But I've used P-Line, I've used Sunline, I've used Seagar, I've used Berkeley Vanish, and I don't hate any of them. I don't know why, I'm just not that picky when it comes to it. But it's kind of a nice experience. I was out fishing today, and I caught a couple, and they're on this same setup. And I'm like, this is actually kind of nice. I do kind of miss the visibility because I'm an old man and my fucking vision is not great, but it is what it is. Let's see what else we got here. Oh, John Hagan says, extra tip. He says, if you fish a lot of heavy cover on a trip and beat up your line, especially braid, respool your line before your next trip. Yeah, fair enough. Little inconvenience can save you a lot of regret on your next trip. Speaking of recent experience, I can say this much as far as braid. Part of the reason why I don't want, the other reason why I wanted to throw fluoro for my jigs and stuff is I fish a lot of jigs around wood cover. Grass, I'm not so concerned with, you know what I mean? But that wood cover, that braid can saw into, and it can be a real problem sometimes, It can be a real problem. So what do we got? It says, happened to me on St. Clair. I cut a bunch of line out, tied a new leader, cast a little bit better than before. Still plenty of line. It's true, man. It's true. You can definitely use less. Brandon says, I need a full lesson this Saturday. That's what I forgot. Forgot to mention. I'm going to Jersey this weekend, Joe.
That's right. Yeah, you kind of mentioned it.
I kind of mentioned it. I'm going to Jersey this weekend, and we are going to have ourselves a damn good time. It's going to be fun. And I'm going with anglers that are very, very into downsized finesse fishing, and I think this is going to be a whole lot of fun. Who knows
That's
what
awesome.
could happen? We were definitely going for like a multi-species sort of mixed bag, you know. Dare I say I might catch the first striper on bait finesse? Could happen. Probably won't. You're probably not going to hear about it. But, you know, we'll see what happens. Now we have... I'm excited to hear about this.
Fuck that guy. Fuck that guy. Fuck that guy.
So I got to know,
So-
Joe. Yeah.
Live action FTG.
I love it.
Straight from the presses. Remember the video I put up the other day of me spraying the water at the kids?
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Had a Karen. So let me a little backstory. So those of you who follow me on TikTok, Instagram, the lake that we were at this past weekend when my wife brought the kids, they have a big swim area, and they went like to the edge of the swim area, and I basically rooster tailed the boat and sprayed them with water. They wanted me to. I was in. I was going to oblige them.
Yeah.
And it looked on the video that I was much closer than I actually was.
Sure.
I was probably a good 20 feet away from them. You know what I
Yep.
mean? I had some motherfucker tag me the video in the qualified captain.
No. You're in the qualified captain?
No, I deleted it first.
Oh.
He tried to put me, and I put this big long thing. I was like, you fucking loser. I was like, what a Karen you are. I was like, you got nothing better to do. And yeah, like I gave him all kinds of shit about that. But I wish I like wrote down his Instagram handle for all the jig heads and everybody right before I got rid of it.
Shit.
But dude, I was like, the last thing I want, because again, it looked much closer than it actually was.
Yeah.
And he just tagged like it was Instagram, and he just did the face palm emoji and like at qualified captain. I'm like, motherfucker.
Oh, man.
That's the last site I want to be on. So I sent him a big long thing, or I commented to his comment. I was like, you fucking loser. I was like, what a Karen you are, blah, blah, blah. And then I mulled it over for a little bit, and I was like, I'm just going to delete it. Because I do not want to be on that fucking site, especially like for nothing, because it was nothing. Like guess what? I would do it again.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's fucking stupid. But so that guy that, tried to get me on the qualified captain for something that he blew way out of proportion. Fuck that guy. If I saw him in person, I'd probably rearrange his smile.
Oh, Jesus Christ. I don't know. I'm torn, man, because I would wear that like a fucking badge of honor. But I mean, I know that it was, which podcast was it? The Meat Eater podcast. I forget the name of it. Joe Cermelli and,
Yeah.
They used to refer to the listeners as degenerate anglers. I'm that degenerate angler. Like, I feel like I fit, you know what I mean? And it's like, oh, dude, that is fucked. That is fucked.
Yeah, dude, it pissed me off because it was like a fun little video. It was like, Meg took it. She's like, oh, that was awesome. That was wicked. Fucking coward. Wish I wrote his shit down so I could give it to everybody. I know some of these folks would have blew him up.
Some of the jig heads, some of the hoodlums would have been a problem.
Yeah.
It would have been a problem.
And it got a ton of views and likes, so that sucked.
Oh my God. Yeah, I hear you. It's a tough thing, especially when like your goal is to be in that next level of tournament fishing. So being like having that show up and being called up, I get that. That makes sense.
Yeah. It was like I was like pissed and like, oh man, I'm gonna write this big long and then I wrote a shorter one, and Meg's like, she's like, that guy's a tool, but she's like, you might want to. Do you really want there's way worse things on that site, especially that are actually dangerous and not blown out of proportion. Yeah. And because dude, I'm all about boat safety. I'm all about it, 100%.
Oh yeah.
And it's It's funny because the video looks like I was like 5 feet away from them, which so in that case, I get it, but it was so far away.
And, you know, that's the thing. Like, we just reported on a story out of, I think it was Louisiana, where there was a guy who fell off of his boat and the prop from his own motor killed him. You know, so it's like, it's not like we're unaware of the danger here, but like you put 20, 30 feet in between some people and you're just having a good time with these, like, dude, that's great. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
Yep. They loved it and they,
for sure,
man. So fuck that guy. I wish I still had his shit. I should at least screenshotted it, and I didn't.
Yeah, screenshots would have been gold. Oh my God. Oh, it would have been so good, man. Oh, what? Yeah,
I said something. I was like, go back to bed, like a big long thing. I was like, go back to bed, Karen, or whatever.
Yeah,
something like that.
Was it someone that lived on the lake, or like somebody that you knew?
No, it was on Instagram. No, it was just some random Instagram person where my reel went across his feed. Yeah. And his shit was private, so I couldn't like troll him back really. So.
That's crazy, man.
Yeah.
Eli says, I have a buddy that got killed because a boat ran him over, but definitely because of stupidity. Stupidity is definitely like an element that comes in with that. 100%. Yeah. Stupidity is deadly. It really is. Oh my goodness, dude, man, that is crazy. So I'm trying to think. I don't think we have anything here other than the throw to our interview with Ryan Fish from Boat Snackz. You guys are going to want to check this out. If and I said it in the intro, if you are a living organism that likes to fish, you're going to want to pay attention to this. It's not a crazy long segment or anything like that, but we talk a lot about some of the ingredients that Boat Snackz is using in their jerkbait jerky bites specifically. And I ran some of the numbers. And their products have like 40, depending on the variety, like 40 to 45% less like sodium. And it's got to do with the lack of nitrates and nitrites. That cuts it way, way down. So you're still getting the good minerals, you know what I mean? And you're still getting sodium that will help you to stay hydrated. But you're not getting like this ungodly amount for no reason other than really keeping it on the shelf for like years, you know, preservation. The flavors sound absolutely amazing, and the future for Boat Snackz sounds absolutely unbelievable. So go ahead and check it out, guys. We will be back after this. We got the live well coming up. You don't want to miss it. We'll see you guys in about 30 minutes or so. Man, I will tell you what, we have been on a roll here at Jigs and Bigs. Just something about 2025 has been the year where your boy has discovered awesome products that are really kind of tailored toward the outdoors enthusiast in a big way. And, you know, nutrition and, you know, keeping yourself, fueled up so that you can go through, you know, an 8+ hour day on the water is really important. And I had a little DM conversation back and forth with Ryan Fish, who is the founder of a company you guys may have heard of before. I've heard them. I've actually seen some posts on Instagram and on YouTube regarding Boat Snackz. Snackz with a Z. Boat Snackz is, and Ryan described it here in his message. He goes, tournament ready snacks for anglers that'll hopefully give you the edge over the competition. These are high protein, clean ingredients, easy to eat with no mess. In other words, not your average type gas station snacks. Ryan, how you doing, man? Welcome to Jigs and Bigs.
Doing great. Yeah, thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
It's great to have you on, man. And, you know, we had talked a little bit back and forth, and you would ask the question. You said, so what is your, like, go-to for snacks when you're on the boat? Like, when you're doing this, what's your typical choice? One of the things that, and I mentioned this right away, I was like, I'm currently going through a medical and lifestyle sort of shift here, where I'm really concerned with making sure that I get a specific number of grams of protein every day. And I'm looking also, you know, like high blood pressure. That's, you know, it's not hard to look at me and figure out I've got high blood pressure. You know what I'm saying? It's pretty simple. but making sure that I'm getting the amount of sodium I need when I'm out, but not too much, obviously, is kind of important. The sort of the right salts, if you will. And there was, that the alternative from that is also like nuts and things like that. It's stuff that's easy to eat on the boat. You don't want to mess around too much. And you mentioned specifically you've got some jerky bites and the branding is perfect. Like, this is made for fishermen. Why don't we start actually from the beginning? Walk me through the story of where the inception of Boat Snackz came from. Let's actually even start earlier than that. How did you get interested in the outdoors, and then how did we arrive at the birthplace of Boat Snackz and where things have been taken off?
Sure. Yeah. So my family has a lake house that's about an hour north of where I'm at. I'm in Pittsburgh, PA right now.
Oh, all right. Yep.
And, so the lake's up towards Erie, and it's a place I've been going to my entire life. I think my grandfather built the original cottage there with his bare hands in the 50s.
Oh, wow. Nice.
And so my dad and the whole family, aunts and uncles and all that stuff, that's like our weekend getaway kind of thing. So the outdoors, the lake, the boats, like that has been like ingrained into me for a long time. So that's kind of where the love of water and boating and all that good stuff has come from. And so then to answer your question about Boat Snackz, being on the boat just about every weekend a couple years ago, I noticed like everything we had was like Doritos and Cheetos and at the same time I was starting to get into like reading the ingredient labels and stuff like that. So I just remember being on the back of the boat, looking at what was in like Doritos and just thinking like, there's gotta be a better alternative to this. You know what I mean? Like, it's stuff that's just makes you feel terrible and it's just not good for you over the long term. So that's kind of where the idea for making healthy snacks for boaters came. And it wasn't really niched down to the fishing community at the beginning. It was just more so like boating in general, but came to find that I don't know if it's when you're on a pontoon boat that people don't really care about the healthy stuff. They're more like partying, you know what I mean?
For sure,
yeah. So I knew that the stuff with the clean ingredients, it probably would resonate more with like the athletes and the people that take this stuff seriously. So I started talking to people in the angler community, and they said it was something that no one else was doing yet. So that's kind of what led us to today.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. And, I could totally see like exactly what you're thinking of. Because like, you're on a pontoon boat. Your cooler is more concerned of how many beers per ice can I fit in there, versus like when you're out on, in like a tournament situation's the most ideal, because you don't get a more polar opposite reason to be on the water than I paid money to enter a contest to hope I catch the biggest fish or the most amount of fish throughout the day. Like, that person's got a different agenda, and performance is a big part of that. I actually, it's funny. And I mean, this is like, we're talking about the human body and things. Like, I intentionally don't eat when I leave in the morning for fishing. I specifically go out with like usually I drink about 2 quarts of water by the time I'm at the ramp. Just to make sure that I'm started out hydrated. And the stuff that I'm bringing on the boat is more like really performance based, which is hilarious. Cause again, you don't look at me and think performance anything. You know what I'm saying? But
you got a performance beard. I know that much.
I try. Thank you. So what I do is, the things like, more bang for your buck. I think they say nutritional density is more important, so if I'm going to take in X number of calories, I want to make sure there's enough grams of protein in there. I want to make sure that there's quality carbohydrates that I'm taking in, because the last thing I want to do is have like a food coma while on the boat in like 90-degree weather. Because trust me, I'll get melanoma everywhere. Just falling asleep on a damn boat like an idiot. So let's walk through the product line. Where did things start, and where's the direction starting to go? Like, what are some of the Boat Snackz offerings?
Yeah. So actually, we started with an energy bar, and I have some of them here, but so there's a long story so Boat Snackz started like 2 years ago. It's been a while trying to get it off the ground, and started with the energy bar. And I had a food scientist that made the formula and all that good stuff, and took about a year to do that process, because there was a lot of like fails and you had to like go back and redo it again and stuff. So we finally got it on Amazon. And then I come to find that they used the wrong type of protein. It basically was a protein powder that dried the bar out like quickly. So like if you bought the first like month, if you were to purchase, like it was a good bar. It was very good actually. But as the months went on, the bar just got harder and harder and harder, and the flavor just like went away. So like it got to the point where I just had to pull it off of Amazon because it wasn't like a good product at that point. I know it's a funny story. Someone left a review of the bar when it was like really, really hard. This is like months and months into it. And he showed himself with like a pocket knife trying to like with two hands push down to cut through the bar. That's how hard this thing was. So I eventually pulled that and started doing a lot of one-on-one outreach on Instagram, just talking to people in the community. And they were all telling me that jerky was kind of their number one choice. Like that was definitely far and away the number one choice of Snackz. So I decided to scrap the bar for now, at least, and just focus on jerky. So that's where the idea for the jerky bites came from.
Gotcha. No, and it totally makes sense because I think like when you're on the water, you've got a checklist of things you want to make sure. Like number one, you want something that's like ready to eat out of the bag. You know what I mean? Like so that you're good to go. And like honestly, a lot of the time, like you're gonna pick up stuff, and like the bar is a perfect example where like that for efficiency is the way to go because of the shelf life. But good on you for catching it and pulling it. You know what I mean? At the right time, because there's a lot of companies that would just be like, let's just put them on sale. You know, and maybe mark up that like, you know, Best Buy date or something, or, you know, to kind of move it along. And it's like, that's the thing, having something that's shelf stable that you could stock up with and go like, yeah, I've got a few bags of jerky in this dry bag. I've got a few, you know, and I hear it all the time. That was another thing. It's funny. Like you mentioned the bar specifically, like people always talk about like protein bars. Like there's just a type. Like maybe there's like it fills that candy bar sort of like craving, you know, and it's all in one package. It's super easy. You know, you don't have to worry about it. Let's talk about the branding on the jerky. Cause like, I mean, you're talking, I think I even mentioned it in our chat back and forth, is that the branding is so on for anglers.
Right. Yeah. So the idea for calling it jerkbait, that actually came from a guy on Instagram. His name's John. I got to give him a shout out. So he said you should call it jerkbait just because it just goes so well with jerky.
Sure.
You know?
Yeah.
And so the Boat Snackz jerkbait beef jerky bites is what it's called. And I did it in bite-sized form.
Yep.
Just because the whole idea is like the convenience of eating these snacks. So the jerky that's in like the longer strips, like you want to rip your teeth out sometimes trying to bite it off, you know? So I wanted something that guys they wouldn't have to touch with their hands. Like if you think about it, like your hands are pretty dirty. You know? So the whole idea is like you tear it off and you can just dump it right out and eat it that way. So that's why we did it in bite-sized form. No,
it makes sense, man. Especially like, you know, if you're on the water all day, like even if you're not using like bait, you don't have like worm guts and stuff all over you.
Right.
Like I use all the time, man. I use like spike it markers to, you know, add additional highlights on my plastics. And like last thing I necessarily want is this artificial, like it's not even meant for human consumption getting onto whatever I'm trying to eat. And it's happened before, you know, it's just, it's just
so that's a central theme though, is we're trying to do stuff that you don't have to touch.
No, that makes sense.
Right. Yeah. So to tell you more about the jerky bites, so the first flavor it's called Dockside Barbecue. And it's a barbecue flavor. It has some red chili flake in it. So it's got a little backdoor heat on it, if you want to say it that way. And but then we have some other flavors we already developed, and I'm just looking at them on the website right now. But the next one we're going to do is just an old-fashioned original, and we're going to call it Angler Original. Is going to be the flavor name.
There you go.
Then from there we got a teriyaki flavor we're going to do. It's called Tight Lines Teriyaki, and that one is going to be cool because we're trying to have the products be soy free. That's another thing is we're trying to avoid soy.
Yep, that's
So
great.
we're gonna-
And that's an
Yeah.
allergy. That's a food allergen that a lot of folks don't think about right away.
Right.
You know
And
what I
it's-
mean? And it's common.
Yeah, and a lot of soy is GMO. Like
Yeah.
they spray soy with very bad stuff when they're harvesting it or whatever. So we're gonna do our teriyaki with what's called coconut aminos. It's kind of like a soy sauce, healthy soy sauce, and much lower sodium content in coconut aminos. So that's gonna be the teriyaki flavor, and then we're gonna do a citrus flavor, which is basically like a lemon pepper recipe.
There you go.
We're calling that sunset citrus. And then the fifth flavor is going to be a honey jalapeno, which a lot of people are excited for.
Oh, yeah.
Don't have a name for that one yet. But we'll see.
That's awesome, dude.
So that's the 5.
Let's talk about like the ingredients specifically. Like a lot of people don't think like coconut aminos for this. Like these are all natural ingredients. What does that do to like a product that's shelf stable to the shelf life there? Because I know some people are like, they're like, well, obviously there's all these chemicals in it because it's going to sit for so long and it's got to be good for however. What's the shelf like on a bag of the jerkbait?
Yeah, so the people that make it, the manufacturer, the smokehouse, they said the shelf life is 12 to 18 months, actually.
That's
so
great.
even if you err on the low side of 12 months, I mean, that's still very long time to eat the jerky, you know?
Yeah.
So I mean, you don't need to have the synthetic nitrates and stuff that a lot of the big brands use. You don't need, I guess they do it because it's cheaper to do. I really don't know why they do it, but that's definitely not a requirement, put it that way.
So if somebody is sitting at home right now and they're listening to their favorite fishing podcast, Jigs and Bigs, and they're like, "Hey, I'm a human animal. I need to be fueled up while I'm on the water." Where are you guys currently as far as like any retailers, and where can folks get boat snacks?
Yeah, so right now it's just Amazon. It's just e-commerce right now. And if you went to boatsnacks.com, you can get 10% off your first order. That will take you right to the Amazon listing and all that good stuff. And even our Instagram has a link at the top in the bio. So right now it's just Amazon. We're going to be selling on our website soon. Just have to get that all set up. And as far as the retail stuff goes, that is a work in progress. We're not in any retail, but it's something I'd love to do because I think if we were in like bait shops or marinas or stuff like that, there's a lot of foot traffic. I think it'd be great to have these on the shelf.
Oh, I definitely agree with that. Have you looked into doing any of the expo tours or anything? Because I think that's a great way to get not only like the actual consumers of the product familiar with it, but I would I think specifically off the top of my head, I'm thinking of the Columbus Fishing Expo in Ohio. I've never seen a fishing expo so large, and it's. I mean, I'm telling you, it is unbelievable. Like I've never been to like Red Crest or the Classic or anything like that. Obviously, that's a whole other beast, and ICAST is another one that's like holy crap. But I could see you guys growing a lot from those experiences, getting out there and throwing a booth together or something. I think that would be absolutely badass.
Yeah, it's still kind of early stages right now with just getting everything off the ground. So, but yeah, I would love to, I'd love to go to something like that. And I never heard of the Columbus one, and that's not too far away from me. So
I would recommend, even if you don't go to present, like just to get eyes on like the spectacle, go check it out. I've been the last couple of years, we've been working with one of our show partners, Dark Horse Tackle. And you know what? I should actually get you in touch with Dark Horse too. I'd love to see folks get their Dark Horse Tackle box, for that month, and there'd be a little sample size of jerky in there or something so they can try it out. Small business of the month, maybe something like that.
Yep. Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, it's definitely a good thing, and it's like that's the thing. As humans, as living beings on this planet, we all got to eat. We're all gonna die. Those are the only two things that for sure everybody's gonna have to deal with. So
and pay taxes, right?
Yeah. Oh, exactly. Well, hey, some of us don't give a shit about that. But it's one of those things where like this is a fact of life, and it'll make your experience overall overall that much better. Like, what's worse than being on the water, eating literally a bunch of junk food, getting off the water when you're exhausted and dehydrated and everything else, and then just feeling like garbage, or like eating something that's a little bit higher quality. And you're 100% right. A lot of it for folks too, like, is just the convenience. And I'm totally guilty. Like, it'll be morning of, I'm trying to get to the launch before sunrise, and I'm like, yeah, whatever, I'll eat this, that's fine. Or, you know, sometimes you make bad decisions because you're up so early and you're getting fuel for the boat and then fuel for your truck, and you're just like, yeah, these are cheap, there's nothing, you know, hot that I can grab for breakfast, I'm gonna go ahead and do this. Or it's just nuts, dude. I definitely think being in, like, you know, bait shops is for sure. But I mean, if you guys can get hooked up with like one large gas station chain, right? You know what I mean? That's
Buc-ee's.
Awesome.
Buc-ee's is a big one, I think.
Buc-ee's is amazing. It's But I mean, although it's weird with Buc-ee's though, because they do their own jerky, and they don't do it bad. You know?
Yeah, I know. I've had some people tell me good things about their flavors.
Yeah, so it's not like it's kind of culty, to be honest. But like, I mean, you know, you get into like any one of these larger retailers, and it's like that right there. You put it right in folks' hands, right there where they need it. Like, I love how I see like liquid IV. You see it everywhere now, you know, and it's just like you're just and it makes sense, because if it's available to you right there, it's so perfect, and you know, make a good decision. That's awesome, dude. Let's talk a little bit of fishing. Let's get into it. Like, what types of what do you typically target when you do fish?
Yeah, so I'm not by any means like I don't have like the fishing boat or anything like that. I'm more so. Yeah, I'm more so off the dock, very casual. Drinking a beer, kind of fishing. But my nieces and nephew actually love it. They're 6 and 8 years old, I think. So they're really into it, and we just like to throw it right off the dock. There's like bluegill and some bass and some carp too. You'll see the lake that we're on. It's kind of known for muskie, which I've never caught a muskie there before, but I know they do a lot of that on that lake as well. But it's just the small stuff, the bluegill, the bass, and what's around the dock.
No, that's awesome. And that's the whole thing. Like that angler, like, that's just recreationally going out and doing their thing. That's the biggest slice of this community. It really is. It's the largest one. Everything else is a little bit more specialized, and those communities get smaller and smaller the more niche they get. But your average person that's just like, I like to, you know, get outside, connect with nature a little bit, and just relax. And that's kind of the thing that the sort of the cornerstone about Jigs and Bigs is, like, it's just bringing those niche-y weirdo folks in the fringe like me. Now me, I think I've evolved to that. Then, or not even evolved. I've just kind of, I guess evolved is the right term, but it's just one of these things where, like, we all kind of fit in regardless of experience, and it can all appreciate nature in that sense. So that's absolutely badass. We do one of the things that we do. Have you ever fished competitively, like just to like try it out or anything?
No, I would love to like go just watch. I'd love to be on a boat for a tournament, just because I've seen obviously people on Instagram and YouTube, but no, I've never been in that atmosphere before. But it seems like a lot of fun.
It's wild. It really is. Like, and there's so many different. Like, I have a very unique take when it comes to tournament fishing. I'm not big into it at all. In fact, more than anything, it's like I love a gathering. You know what I mean? It's one of those things where I'm like, okay, cool. We'll go ahead. We'll try this out. But I'll tell you what. It is kind of fun. It really is. Like, in a weird way, I can't really explain it, you know, because there's tons of anxiety, you know, there's tons of like, you know, stress on like making decisions, or was I adaptable enough, or, you know, you kind of like tear yourself into them, but you really do analytically look at the way you're out fishing versus when you're just, you know, going out. And I used to hate the phrase fun fishing, but I get it. I 100% get it. No, that's awesome.
And like you said, it's stressful. You're thinking a lot, and I think a lot of guys forget to eat while they're out there. So that's kind of where the convenience of what we're making and the healthy ingredients, just so you're not mental fog while you're trying to think and whatnot. That's kind of where this all stems from as well.
100%, man. 100%. And you're absolutely right. Cause like, think about it. You mental fog, and you're, again, you make some bad choices where you're like, oh, I ate, such and such because it was available or something.
Right.
That's not going to help your mental clarity at all, And I mean, you are what you eat. So it's like, if you can kind of, there's a saying in fishing where they're like, if you're having a tough day, stop and like have a sandwich. Or like, stop having, because like that break of whatever will kind of put some things in perspective. And I've noticed that myself where like I might be, thinking of changing a presentation because they're not biting this one thing well enough, or I'm getting follows to just not committing to it. What do I need to do? And sometimes throwing that spot lock on and just sitting there and having some type of a snack will help keep you distracted enough, and then all of a sudden inspiration will hit you,
Yeah. I mean, and the sun beats you up too. So, I mean, you really gotta,
it's brutal.
You gotta be hydrating. You gotta be eating good stuff.
The whole thing. I love it, man. I love it. What, do you know what cuts of meat they're using in the jerkbaits?
It is a top round.
Okay.
Cut.
Nice.
Yeah, it's a pretty premium cut of meat. Yeah, so it's all low. It's all in the USA. So this is all made in the USA. Nothing's
awesome.
Nothing's coming in. Nothing's imported or anything like that. But it's a premium cut though, for sure.
That's awesome. So if are you guys doing like any kind of like bulk bundles or something like that, where if you could or any type of regular like specials that folks can take advantage of, or can we expect to see those when the new flavors are released?
Yeah. So there's. Right now, you can get 10% off your first order if you head over to boatsnacks.com. As far as the bulk stuff goes, we're gonna do some wholesale stuff in the near future. Stuff like you could buy in bigger quantities at a wholesale price. That is not. We're not there yet.
Yeah, it takes time.
Yeah. But once we get more flavors out, I'd like to put like a sample box together so that people would be able to buy or try the different flavors and not buy just one box of a single flavor. So, yeah, there's a lot coming down the line. Put it that way, but we're just still getting our feet under us right now.
Oh yeah, absolutely. What are there some other varieties of snacks that you've kind of got that are floating around that you're considering?
Yeah. So the question that I asked you on Instagram, I asked the same with a lot of people just to see what other products we could do just in a healthier way. So we have the beef jerky bites right now. We're going to do meat sticks next, I believe. So beef sticks and then maybe some pork sticks as well.
Nice.
They'll be probably like 8-inch long, something you could just, again, don't have to touch with your bare hand. You just eat it right out of the plastic or whatever. And then the third product line is probably, and it's something I'm talking to some manufacturers and whatnot right now, is it's probably going to be some trail mix is going to be product number 3.
That's a good idea. Yeah.
Yeah. So the thing with trail mix is, and another theme of Boat Snacks is we're not going to have any seed oils in what we do. I know seed oil, avoiding seed oils is a big topic nowadays. It's kind of a trend, and for a good reason too. But finding a trail mix that doesn't have seed oils in it, like the sunflower oils or the canola oil, that kind of thing, is not easy. So our trail mix is going to be dry roasted stuff. So it's going to just completely avoid all that. So that's probably the 3 coming more in the immediate term. And then we might do stuff with like pretzels that have different types of butters in them, like a cinnamon butter or an almond butter. I know honey buns and Uncrustables are very popular.
Oh yeah,
with fishing guys. So we might do a healthier version of both of those, just because they're very popular. It seems like. So there's a lot of ideas, and there's a whole hydration side that I'd like to do at some point. But that we're getting a little bit ahead of ourselves. But there's a lot coming down the line.
That's awesome. That way. So there's a future here for Boat Snacks. Like there's an idea of like sort of an expansion in place, and that's awesome.
Yeah, there's definitely a big vision for sure. Yeah.
That's badass, dude. I love it. Well, Ryan, this is absolutely fantastic, dude. Do everybody a favor and just again go through where folks can learn more about Boat Snackz, and if they're interested or want to place an order, if anything that they need, if they have questions for you, like how can you be contacted?
Yeah, the best way to contact me is on Instagram. So our handle is just at Boat Snackz with a Z. And follow us there. I'll send you a message. I'll say hello myself personally. And then if you want to go to boatsnacks.com, you can get 10% off your first order of Dockside Barbecue. And the one other thing I wanted to mention, a big part of Boat Snackz is we have a big charity side of this. So we're awesome. Donating a portion of everything that we sell to the Tunnels to Towers Foundation. I'm not sure if you've ever heard of them, but
I've heard of them, but what's the...
Yeah, so they donate, they give mortgage-free homes to critically wounded vets and first responders.
Oh, no kidding.
So
That's awesome.
They customize, like if someone is in a wheelchair, they got hurt like in battle or overseas or whatever, they'll customize the house so that they can
it's accessible.
Basically live their life, like a normal person would. So, and they would do a lot of stuff with Gold Star families, so people that lost their life in the military.
Yeah.
It's a great organization, and we're donating a portion of everything we sell to them. So,
that's something awesome, else. Dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's sometimes that can make the difference. You know, folks are just like, oh, this is a company that's conscious about what they're giving me to fuel myself, but they're also doing something to better, like, you know, the lives of other folks. Like that's a huge thing. Good job, man.
Yeah. I was never in the military myself. I had an uncle and both grandfathers that served. So I love the military. I love first responders and all that stuff. So it's, we're happy to do it. We're honored to do it.
That's awesome, man. That is absolutely great. Ryan, this is great. I'm going to go and put together an order of Boat Snackz myself, and we'll do, maybe we'll do a little review while I'm on the implication one of these days. It'll be a good one.
Yeah. I'd love to come back on when we get some more flavors going.
Yeah, absolutely. If you like, especially if you're doing a launch or something, let us know. We'd love to help out with that.
Yeah, sounds good, man. I appreciate it.
Sounds good, dude. Ryan, thanks so much. Guys, we will be back with more Jigs and Bigs goodness coming up right after this. Don't go too far.
Hi there. Welcome to the Live Well, where we crack open a ramp beer and attempt to answer all of your burning questions.
Alrighty, guys. Bobby Roast Beef. Who the fuck is Joe Brown? We're in the Live Well right now. And this is the part of the show where our listeners can reach out to us on either the Jigs and Bigs hotline or via email or DM and ask us a question. We'll chime in and kind of go ahead and do this. We love specifically on the hotline. You can call or text us on the hotline and submit your questions. But let's go ahead and take a quick listen to this first question right here from you know him, you love him, and we've already mentioned him a couple of times. It's Eli.
Hey guys, it's Eli back with another question for the Live Well. I have set the bar so high with some of these questions that it takes me a while to think of one. But no, I think I've got one. I've been traveling a lot recently. Sister's wedding, a bunch of different stuff like this, and keep seeing ponds around me and wish I had a rod and reel set up. What do you think the best travel combo is when it comes to rod and reel setups? And then is there a travel like tackle bag maybe that you would recommend too? So best travel setup, rod, reel, and tackle. Is there one that you would recommend? If you don't have an elaborate setup like Bobby does in his car. All right. Hey boys.
So Eli makes that's a great question, because that's something that comes across pretty often. People are like, oh, I'm doing some traveling. And I think there's a couple things you got to look at. Like, and I'm going to say that, like, Eli goes, you know, some people don't have like the elaborate setup that Bobby's got in his car. But I think you got to look at, like, how are you traveling? That's a big one. If you're on a road trip, that changes things. There's things that you can do. You could bring your typical rods and reels. Are you going to have a lot of passengers where it's going to eat up room in the car? Is that going to be a problem? Maybe you need to consider, instead of, you know, if it's a road trip, instead of something like travel rods or reels, use your regular stuff, but put a rod safe together to put on your roof rack if you've got that. Something like that might be a good idea. I would also say utilize stuff if you're in a car. And, Eli says it's an elaborate setup. It's really not. There's just a couple of bars. You can do this with bungee cords too. Just put them across the handles that are up there, the oh shit handles in the back seat. Or if you have the hangers, the hooks for us to hang like garments or coats from, you put those over there and you can just put your rods right overhead. And that's essentially what I'm doing. So there's definitely that. If we're talking about flying or traveling by train or public transportation of any kind, that's where things get a bit different. And that's where I think we're talking about specific rods and reels.
Yeah.
And I will say that, and I've had conversations, I'm thinking of one listener specifically that I had a conversation with at the Columbus Fishing Expo, Grant. And Grant and I were talking, and he mentioned in there that he had just picked up, I think it was a Megabass travel rod that was like a 4-piece rod. So each piece was machined so that they went together in 4 individual pieces, and it broke down to like a standard fit into a case or a bag that was like travel size, like 18 inches, 2 feet long, something like that. Something you could put into a suitcase. I have a couple of rods from Cast King actually that are called a Blackhawk series, and they're travel rods, but they're telescopic. So these are segmented, but they go one into the other. Now you have to make the choice of like what's best for you. The telescopic rods I picked up because I really wasn't looking to drop like a huge amount of money on this necessarily. And I'm just taking whatever reels I think fit the mold. So I would say like to put together a good travel setup overall, make the decision on the rod that works best for you, like what you can live with. But I think realistically, you'll do yourself the best if you have 2 rods, a casting rod and a spinning rod. And I say this because that gives you such a large amount of baits that you could potentially throw. And you could take like a 3,700 box and outfit it really well. Get a backpack or something like that, or a sling bag even, and outfit it pretty decently with like some kind of a day box, a terminal box, a handful of plastics and stuff, some packages of hooks and jig heads and all that good stuff. Put all this stuff aside, put together a small kit. I use this kind of stuff for bank fishing all the time. What's your take on it, Joe? What do you think?
So 99.999% of the time that I'm fishing, I'm bringing the boat and I'm driving there. However, like my trip, I leave on Tuesday, a week from tomorrow, to go down to ICAST.
Yep.
And some of the guys I'm going with talked about bringing rods. There, I'm not going to, because I like to travel light, and I'll just steal one from one of the other guys.
Yep. There you go.
But no, they have for like, so I just sent him like a little name. So they do have cases for rods, like setups with full length that can go from anywhere from 6 feet to like 7.5 feet. I know Plano makes one. I think Freybill there's a couple different ones. So when it comes to that's if you want to bring the setups that you already have and aren't specific to being a travel rod, like that's a great option. And if you don't mind paying the baggage fees, anything like that. Outside of that, there are companies that make Sixth Sense makes a couple travel rods. I know the Lux series and the Milliken series both have travel rods, and you can just kind of stick reels in your friggin' bag or whatever, and take very minimal tackle. Like I wouldn't even take like a tackle bag. Probably I'd just throw a few things in a fucking Ziploc or something, or just grab a few things wherever I'm going. Yep. So that's another option. So, and then again, I just travel and bring everything in the boat. So if you're not driving, I would go, if you're flying, either get one of the 2 to 4 piece travel rods, throw a couple reels in your bag, do it that way. They'll fit in a duffel bag, backpack, whatever. If you want to bring your current setups, full length, 1 piece rods, you can get they do have, I mean, Bass Pro, Tackle Warehouse, they all sell them, the airliner rod cases or the travel rod cases.
You will need to check those.
You do need to check
and
them.
It's going to cost you because they are an odd size. Keep that in mind.
Yep. So it's probably going to be, I luck out because being in the military, most places, my check bags are free. So I'm lucky in that, in that aspect. But, right now you're looking at probably around $50 to check this bag.
Yeah.
And then again, like I said, just so that there are options out there. But is that something you want to do because you may or may not see a pond on the side, where you're going.
Yep.
So obviously if you're going on a dedicated, like if I was going on a dedicated fishing trip and I got with a guy down like Lake Fork or something like that, then of course I'm going to grab one of these things. I'm going to bring it on the airplane. I'm going to bring my shit with me. But dude, especially Eli, you know what I do when I travel, dude? And I find a pond like on the side of the road that I want to hit. I find the closest Walmart or something. I spend $30 on a cheap ass fucking rod that's usually like already spooled up, a couple baits, and I go throw at it.
Yep.
And then you know what I do? And then I throw the rod in the fucking dumpster or something after when I'm done.
Oh yeah.
So that's my take on it.
Cheryl chimes in here. She goes, I have a spinning and casting travel setup. One nice one being Daiwa with a case. Flying TSA lost a piece. Always check luggage. Yeah, that makes sense. Douglas has rods that have travel setups as well. Just received some, not telescopic. Doesn't come with a case. I'll also say this, guys. You got to do the right thing that's right for you. Like what people consider travel rods varies. I consider a travel rod something that you can break down really, really small. I'm talking more than a 2-piece, but there are people who are like, yeah, 2-piece rod is a travel rod, my Shimano Majestic XT, that BFS combo is a 2-piece. The Benki is also a 2-piece. Those are both about like 6'4", 6'5". You break them down, they're just over 3 foot a piece, Is it something that you can manage? Maybe. I don't know that I would necessarily want to bring something that's that long and put it in a bag necessarily. But like the telescopic stuff is going to hold up. It's designed for travel. When you start breaking them down, they get smaller and smaller. Your reels, that's simple. Just take whatever reel you're doing, throw a little piece of tape on the spool so you don't get line everywhere all over the place. But then just put it together when you're at your location. But figure out what you're doing. Now, you make a good point, Joe. Eli mentioned like, go by this one place. I'm driving by and I find this. Eli, you're in here now. What do you drive? I'm just curious. What are you driving right now? Let me know in there, and I'm gonna make a good suggestion for you to keep something in there because I am a firm believer of if you have your own vehicle, you should 100% always have at least 2 rods to be able to fish on the go, So I'm just curious, Eli, what you drive, because like I said, like if you get into like a rod locker, he's got a Kia Sportage. Okay. So I believe he probably has a roof rack on there. Kia Sportage is I don't know if you might actually have a hard time putting a 7-foot rod all the way across the top. I don't know that it's got enough interior length to be able to fit that, but a rod locker is the move. And earlier you had mentioned that been trying to find a DIY rod locker setup, and I found them for fly rods, but not traditional setups. Eli, I'm gonna recommend this. You're gonna want to look for a kit that is a PVC cap kit that's got a locking unit. Becca has one on her truck camper, and what people will do is they'll take this and they'll get like an 8-inch diameter, like an 8-foot long stretch of 8-inch diameter PVC pipe, and then put one of these cap kits on either side. It's really simple. You just basically use a like a sealant. You could do it with glue, and then put a couple of screws right through it to hold it in place. It's got a locking side on it, so you can have it protected. And then what you do is you can put a couple of rods, maybe even in an 8-inch, maybe even 3 bait casters with reels. If you alter the way they go in, butt first or tip first. if you alter the way that they sit in there, you can fit more, or take the reels off, keep the reels in some kind of a case in your car, and then you've got the rods that are up there. You can put a combo together if you're on the road with ease, and having that rod locker up there, that's one more place you can put your
Dark Horse tackle stickers.
You know what I mean? And represent some of that and personalize it a little bit. But there are tutorials. If you just go on YouTube and you look for DIY PVC rod locker, you will find them, and it's super easy. I was considering doing one on my truck, and then I did the measurements on the interior, and I was like, it makes more sense for me to leave the roof completely unobstructed and just keep everything inside. Although, in some instances, I'm kind of running out of room. That's the reality. So I might be putting some stuff that I don't use all that often in some rod lockers up in the top. Who knows? Zach says, save your bones and get the Yakima rod locker. It's amazing. It is amazing. I know some folks that have that. Todd says 8-inch tubes are hard to get. I have found where I can buy 10 at a time. Oh, there you go. That helps. Some places try to rip you off and charge a couple $100 for one tube. I was looking around, an 8-inch tube is tough. I was actually looking for like 10-inch tubes because they make these locking kits in different sizes. The tough thing is tough to figure out. Yeah, the Yakima's $700. Even if you did pay $200 for a PVC pipe to do it, you're still saving a lot of money. You're still saving a ton of money doing it on your own. So, just something to keep in mind out there for travel stuff. It's like travel's going to vary on the user. Figure out what it is that you want to do, and then kind of go with it from there. In fact, Eli, if you have a trip where you're flying specifically, and you want me to send you those Black Hawk rods from Casking to try them out, you're more than welcome to them. Just let me know. I'm glad to do it. Let's go ahead and get to question number 2. This is another solid question.
Hey guys, Eli again, back with another question. With ICAST coming up and people throwing around the word game changer constantly, in the last 25 years, what do you think? Maybe the top 3, you can go top 3, top 5, doesn't really matter. But what do you think the top 3 or top 5, either baits, equipment, it could be clothes, it could be accessories for your boat, it could be boats. What do you think of in the top 3 or top 5 things that have actually changed the game in fishing in the last 25 years? All right, see you guys.
I got one right off the rip.
Go for it.
The fishing kayak.
Oh, yeah.
100%.
That's a good one.
It's changed. It's absolutely the textbook definition of a game changer. It took the entry point of being able to get off the bank and fish and cut it like it's a fraction of what it was. Even if you go all in, even if you go with the most expensive kayak and you rig it to the teeth with the most up-to-date technology, everything else, you're still not going to get halfway to what I paid for my boat. Now, there are limitations. I say this, I am a believer. Like, a lot of people think because I've got a boat now, like I hate kayaks. You know what I mean? Like I'm too good for that shit. Wrong. I love kayak fishing.
Yeah.
I am sinking a lot of money into my boat, and I'm fucking going to use it. That's what it gets down to.
Sure.
You know what I mean? But I will say that for the angling community, the fishing kayak has changed the game. I don't think I would be in a boat today if I didn't start in a kayak. Because it really showed me the importance of being off of the bank. It's the number one thing. I think the fishing kayak, because when we talk to people, it was really like 2012, 2015, like in that window, like you started to see the first like sit on top kayaks with rod holders designed for fishermen. And they weren't amazing, but since then it's changed everything. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
And I'll say this much. I'm not saying that folks haven't been fishing out of kayaks in the past. A good one that like Todd goes, he says that Or Todd Sefton, his kayak is to sit in like a wreck kayak. People have been doing that for a long time. I'm talking about when they changed the mold and were like stadium seating. You're up higher up on the water. You've got more mobility all the way around you. You know, shit like that. You've got the system where you're able to store things inside the hull. You have the scupper system where you're able to drain that water that collects. All of these things go together, and I think it makes for it totally changed some stuff. Let's see what we got. What else do we have in here? Go ahead, Joe. What do you have?
Zach is pissing me off. He's taking all mine. Literally taking all mine. So my big one, I think, is mapping as well. I think the mapping and the actual, you know, the laser radar, you know, however they freaking do it, mapping where you have every depth, every ledge, every contour, like that's huge game changers for fishermen. The other one I was going to say is forward facing sonar has been huge.
Yep.
And obviously, you know, with or without the controversy. And then man, I think I kind of agree with Zach on the chatterbait because or the bladed jig, because think about it, dude, that's like there's not many baits that have come out in that amount of time where you're like
window,
where you're like, wow, that's completely different from anything that's been out. Like everything that comes out now is just a modernized or updated version of something that's already out there.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna have to say that I think Zach's hit it on the head with his.
There's a couple of things in here too. Like Zach, he nailed it. Like he put mapping. I mean, when I think mapping, the big thing I'm thinking of straight up is just GPS. Because that is like, it's given you so much ability to locate exactly where you're at and then figure something out. Like GPS just in general has been insane. For sure, I totally agree with the chatterbait. Part of me wants to say like the Whopper Plopper, but I'm not sure exactly when that came out. If that was post 2000 or if it was pre 2000. Like, was it sometime in the 90s the Whopper Plopper came out? I'm not 100%
I don't think
sure.
so. I think that came out. Hold on, let's look.
Yeah, that's one of them that I would like, because again, like I think again it totally inspired everything. But you look at like the bladed jig period, like Z-Man released the chatterbait, and I remember getting my first chatterbait in like 2013 and being like, what the fuck even is this? And somebody told me, they're like, oh yeah, you fish it, it's kind of like a crankbait with a single hook. And I'm like, okay, that's cool. And then I lost it and I've never picked up another one. I was like, I lose those all the time, you know, and every time I got my hands on one. But I'll tell you, it's one of these things that's become a mainstay. And it's one of these things that's become such a mainstay that there's such a wide variety of them available in different sizes and different blade configurations, at different price points. You know, it's crazy.
So the Whopper Plopper came out in 2008.
Oh, it did come out in 2008. I put the Whopper Plopper in there. Yep. No shit. I thought it was a little bit earlier than that.
So it came out. So it came out originally in that big ass, was it the 130 size for a muskie?
Yep.
And then it didn't come out until for like the bass fishing market. It looks like that didn't come out until 2015.
No shit. Okay. All right. So
it was released in 2008, but people didn't really start noticing it until about 2015.
Yep. And you know, it's funny right here. Jay says it. He goes, forward facing sonar and side scan equals time saved. I was thinking about side scan, but side imaging was a little bit earlier from that. But that was truthfully like, it was the same shakeup that you're having with forward facing right now.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it was the same shakeup. It's just, it's a whole other animal. Yeah, that's a fucking really good one. That is a really, really good one. I'll
tell you, Eli, I'm going to give all the deets on an upcoming show as to what I saw at ICAST, because I will be at ICAST next week. So,
oh yeah.
But then I'm going straight to Cali, so I'm not going to be here for a week or two. Should only be a week, but once I come back.
This is good, though, because then everybody's going to drop all their content about ICAST, and Jigs and Migs is going to do what we always do with ICAST. We're going to write it off, but we're going to get the real fucking poop from Joe.
Yep.
He's going to give us the real deal. What was fucking good and what wasn't. Brandon puts a comment in here for things. He goes, the fishing apps is a game changer for every fisherman. You know, I thought about that, Brandon. I agree. It's so weird. The fishing app market, the internet just in general.
Oh, the internet.
It has really had an impact on fishing. I'm not going to say whether it's been good or bad. I'm speaking more to like the accessibility of giving some folks information. I will say it does, however, paint a picture as if like, oh, well, the app said this, it's got to be true. And that's, let's be honest, that's never actually the case. There's too many moving parts for something that is looking at just the data input to factor in nuance. And I had a conversation recently with a listener about using AI to ask input, fishing conditions and what I should throw and all this, and having AI give you some stuff. And I was like, that is true. It might give you some suggestions, but it's never going to give you the nuance in between. And when it gets to the point that it does know that nuance,
then we got a problem.
You know what my biggest problem with the fishing apps are? Especially fish brain. There's no quality control.
Yes, I agree with that 100%. You have to take it all with a grain of salt.
I have people that just have no idea what they're talking about, or if they're just sandbagging or trying to fuck with people.
Yep.
Lakes around here, this guy's like, oh, caught 2 muskie, or like, what, you know what I mean? I'm like, what? No, you didn't.
And there's two, I'll say this much. When it comes to the fishing apps, there's 2 issues there. Number one, you have lack of experience from the user. So you have a new angler, somebody who's just like, oh, I got really into fishing and I'm on, I use FishBrain.
Yeah.
I do. I take the data it gives me with a grain of salt. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I also and I love Omnia. I use the Omnia app all the time. I take the information there with a grain of salt. Same thing with what was the name? Not Deeper. I forget what the other one was. There's this other AI generated.
Yeah, there's one. I think I think it's Bass Force on here, and the only reason why I use that one is because the wind is accurate and it shows on an actual map. Like the arrows, like the active arrows where the wind's going, and someone stupid like me, I'm like, where I need pictures and stuff, I'm like, oh, okay, so I got to go over here because the wind's coming this way. You know what I mean?
I will say it is really, really nice to have the maps right there. So getting back to what I was saying, so you have like the inexperienced user submitting a fish and going like, oh, look, I caught a smallmouth, and it's very clearly a largemouth, but they thought that the mouth was small and that made it a smallmouth. So whatever. So you get mis-IDs of species that happen all the time. Here's the thing, guys, if you love using the fishing apps, and I do, I'm not a hater at all.
Fucking set your shit to private.
Just, it's that easy. You're the only one that needs that data. You know what I mean? You don't necessarily have to share all of it, and I'm talking about like the location data. That's the thing about FishBrain. It's one part social media network. So there's listeners here that have, I don't know if they're jig heads necessarily, but there are listeners that listen to the show that have discovered because of my profile on FishBrain, which I'm all about. I think that's great, but set that shit to private, because number one, nobody needs to know your spot necessarily, but they also don't necessarily have to know the rig that you're throwing and shit like that. Like that's information that's for you. Then you have people who maliciously enter fish in the wrong bodies of water for who, I don't understand for what reason. Because if they're using this to track their own catches and to kind of create a timeline, it doesn't make any sense why they would, there's this one body of water specifically, and this has come up in conversation with myself and other local anglers. There will be like northern pike entered catches all over this one body of water from one fucking douchebag. There's no northern pike in that body of water at all.
Yeah.
Why would you enter them? Just to get people there, like throwing baits targeting northern pike or something like that? Like it doesn't make any sense. It's almost like they're just trolling for the sake of trolling.
Yep. Exactly.
So, I will oftentimes look at those apps and the data with a much more broad scope. So I'll give you an example. I will look at a map and say, where are there catches being made around this time of year? And I'll go through the filters and I'll take it with a grain of salt, because I know that, like, yeah, while there might be 3 or 4 that were caught over here in that 1 month window, there might be a couple randos that are going to show up in these other spots. And I'm like, okay, cool. And I try to put the pieces together and figure out what I think is going on. You know, are all of these pictures taken by, you know, some noob who was like, oh yeah, I'm throwing around night crawlers and I caught these 3 fish. And, you know, in the pictures, am I able to see, like, oh, these don't line up at all. These don't look like the same area whatsoever, or they're mis-ID'd fish, you know, and they're showing up in the, you know, in the search, you know, for whatever. I'm mainly using it for like mapping directions to like boat launches, looking at structure in advance. And a lot of folks are jumping in here. They're going like, oh, I love Omnia. I love Omnia too. I genuinely do. The mapping's fantastic. Again, like, I don't take a lot of the hot baits and stuff. I take it kind of with a grain of salt. I primarily am looking, and actually with Omnia, Todd was with me. We were using it on the water. We'd be like, where the hell are we? You know, and we'd look and we'd be like, okay, so this is about the depth, and we can kind of make an adjustment one way or the other and figure it out. And it really did sort of help us get a grasp of the structure that we were fishing, because it was a brand new area of that lake. Well, actually, Todd had never fished St. Clair before either. So it was a brand new lake to both of us, you know, and we were able to actually make it happen. But yeah, fishing app for mapping, not catches. Absolutely. Yeah, it's interesting, dude. It is interesting. Social media is the worst thing to happen to fishing, John. I'm on the fence with that. I think that there's enough that social media has done for fishing that's been good, to where to say like fishing's gone to shit because of social media, like, it certainly has helped. You know what I mean? It certainly has helped blow spots up, you know, for sure. But it's not the only thing, because people forget. Somebody in some town catches a giant fish. They used to print that shit in the newspaper. All social media is the newspaper in your pocket, or television, or whatever you want to call it. Like, oh yeah, so-and-so caught a giant fish. Here, let's go report on it. And like, you know, he goes, yeah, I'm talking from a trolling and spot burning. Yeah, I agree, John. But that's what I'm saying. Like, there are idiots who would look in the paper and see something and go like, oh, there was a giant fish caught at such and such. Next thing you know, everybody's targeting that spot. You know, same thing could be said for state records, because they release the bodies of water in a lot of those state records. I don't know if it's like mandatory that like every state does it or something like that, but you see it happen, I think, often enough where it's kind of a problem. But yeah, it's kind of nuts. Game changers. That's a fucking good question, Eli. Now, the other one, I actually have to go into Instagram and look this one up, because Eli had sent me this question earlier today. He mentioned in the what do you call it? In the chat right here, he mentioned that he got a new spinning combo, which is dope. Where did you send this here, or nope? You did it. Bobby roast beef. Where is it? There we go. Okay, so he goes, I have a 7-foot medium. I have a medium fast 7-foot spinning rod, and I'm looking at getting a Shimano Stratic. What size would you recommend? 2,500 or 3,000?
2,500.
That's exactly what I said. That's exactly what I said. Now, Joe, I'm curious. Why do you say 2,500?
So it is mainly my preference. So I'll be honest. I bought a couple 2000s this year. Yep. I have them. They're nice reels, but fighting those smallies up in the river, St. Lawrence River, it felt like they weren't enough reel at times.
Gotcha.
In the aspect of cranking them in, of just like 2,500, I think, is the best overall size for bass fishing. Spinning wise, I do have a 3,000 Vanford. That's nice, and I like it. I don't hate it, but 2,500 has always been my go-to for spinning reels for most brands. I'm primarily a Shimano guy. I primarily have, Stratex or, the Nasky or Vanfords. It's just a great overall size in the aspect of just the feel of it, the aesthetics of it, the drag. You get, a little more strength out of the drag, a little bit more line if you need it. And
that's what I was thinking. Because my thought was this, where Eli is typically fishing, it's not like he's on the Great Lakes drop shotting 300 feet.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, so that 3,000 will have a little bit more line capacity. And I get like the reason why some people might lean toward that. Like, oh, I want to put as much line as possible on it. Like when you're doing some stuff with that he goes, the biggest difference on the Stratic is 3,000 is a T-grip handle, which I think for bass fishing I think you're gonna notice very little unless for whatever reason you're just like, this is what I want. Although you could probably just swap out the handle.
You can.
You know what I mean? You can
Yeah.
probably just swap out the handle. The thing is with a 2500 reel, it's if you're bass fishing, especially like if you're pond hopping or kayak fishing, if you're going to be using this rod for any amount of time, you don't want all that weight right there at the handle. You want it to be a little bit more balanced, and that's going to help. And I think that's what you're talking about, Joe. The overall, like the way that it feels.
Yeah,
that makes sense. Because I'm one of those guys who I would 100% lean toward as small a reel as possible, and I think 2500 is like you said, where you're not sacrificing any power.
Yep.
Especially with the drag. Yeah, he goes, I asked 10 people and 9 of them said 2,500. Of
and
course,
the other one probably
I like 3,000.
Yeah.
Comes down to what feels right in your head. I agree. I agree 100%. It's just, you got to consider what it is that you're doing. You know what I mean? Like if you're like, oh yeah, I'm going to go and I'm going to fucking drop shot the deepest fucking shit. I'm going to be fucking vertical jigging for burbot and fucking, you know what I mean? Some shit like that. It's going to be you're going to want that larger reel. Shit, if this was a combo that you're like, I might get into catfishing, I might suggest the 3,000.
Sure.
But I know how Eli says, Dahl said 3,000. Oh, no shit. I figured it was Zach that chimed in. Yeah, man, that's pretty nuts. But yeah, that's a good question. So all 3 questions this week from the one and only Eli self. Look at that. It is the Eli well. It is the Eli well, 100%. It's just turning into it. I don't know. Do we have anything else we have to go over? There is one thing I want to add. So I mentioned earlier, you guys could call the hotline. You can call or text the hotline if you have a live well question or you want to just give a shout out. There's a bunch of reasons why you could reach out to us on the hotline. And you can call or text us. The number is 413-324-8519. 413-324-8519. Give us a call. Give us a text. We're glad to get your stuff, to talk about your stuff. And you can submit an FTG there too. It's pretty good. It's pretty good. I think that about does it, Joe.
That's it, man.
I think that's all that we got.
That's it. That's a wrap.
So let's think about this for a second. You're traveling. You're not going to be around next Monday.
So next Monday is going to be weird because I have a super early flight. So it's going to depend if I go down there if I stay closer to there the night before.
Gotcha. So
that's going to be probably like closer to a game time decision.
Saturday, I will be fishing in Jersey with Chris and Brandon. Saturday night, we don't really necessarily have any plans.
I do.
Okay. All right. Sunday, I do have trivia. We could record in the morning.
Let's still plan on Monday. I should be able to make Monday work.
All right.
Yeah, I should be able to make Monday work.
Worst case scenario, you know what we'll do? I got an idea. You know what we should do? We'll put together a guest co-host to have somebody on, because I don't even have an interview scheduled this week. So that'll be good. We'll put a guest co-host in this seat. Hey, Eli, what are you doing, bud? Maybe we'll have you guest co-host. Oh, shit. That's going to be weird if you're answering your own fucking live well questions. Dang it. John Higgins goes, I have no attorneys till August. Now everybody's like, oh, there we go. Yeah. Next Monday we'll plan on that. We'll schedule a guest co-host, and then if for some reason it doesn't work out for you, Joe, it's no big deal.
Yeah.
Worst
and then
case
the
scenario, I
following
can always
one,
do
I'll
this
definitely
myself.
be out.
Yeah, that's no problem. I'll get somebody scheduled for those. That's no problem. Eli says he is in. I think that could be fucking fun. I think we should do. You know what? Let's get Eli on the show before Andrew gets him on Tackle Talk.
Yeah, right.
Let's do that. You know, let's see if Eli's going to have a favorite podcast. It's going to be us. I'm just saying.
You got another one, Jay Manning jumping in.
I love that. Oh, Jay, you know what? With what's going to go down Saturday night, you would be the perfect counterpart. The perfect counterpart. My God. Oh, what an amazing show, guys. Thanks so much for hanging out and spending your time with us, getting fishy and talking about all the fishy adjacent stuff. Big shout out to all the jig heads that were in here tonight. We had a squad. We had like 9 or 10 different jig heads in here at various different points. Like, I'm all about it. I am all about it. Dudes, as always, go and follow Jigs and Bigs and American Vet Fishing on all of the social medias. We're available on all of them. And do yourself a favor, man. I don't do this very often. Go and listen to the episode of Bass and Brews with Who the Fuck is Joe Brown. Just go and listen to it. It is very interesting. I love hearing Joe on other podcasts. And that one was amazing. And I feel like there needs to be a Bass and Brews. I think that we have to schedule this for like late winter or early spring. We need to do a send to the Carolinas, and we'll pick up Alex on the way. Like, no choice. We're just going to pick them up on the way. We'll bring them, and we'll go, and we'll send it. I think we'll have ourselves a freaking grand old time, because I think a collaboration is a brewing. I do. I have a feeling.
Yeah.
100%. With all that said, again, go follow us on all the social media stuff. We'd love to have from. If you're catching fish, by all means, and I'm going to put this in the in the description here. What platform do you think we should start this stud campaign on?
I would do Instagram.
We'll start with Instagram. So here's the deal, folks. Make a post, not a story post. Make a post on your Instagram profile. You catch an absolute stud. Use hashtag JB Certified Stud. JB Certified Stud. Hashtag JB Certified Stud. Tag Jigs and Bigs in it. Tag American Vet Fishing in it. And this way we'll be able to go and look at all of these and then come up with a good, contest. We're going to do a full live stream. It might be during a show recording. It might be something additional. It might be a live stream. Now, if we're going to do it, it's going to be live stream live across the board. Yeah. It'll be everybody. Everybody will get to see it. We'll just rank some absolute certified studs on a platform. And Facebook, you're next. We're going to let this ride until we have at least 12 entries in there. Go ahead and make it happen. It'll be great. All this information is going to be in the description. Very rarely do we get people that are listening this late in the show, and these ideas always come to me at this point. So this is why you should listen all the way through, folks. We will see you guys with more Jigs and Bigs goodness coming up in each and every week. And 7 days from now, we'll be recording a brand new show, and you're not going to want to miss it, folks. We have an awesome, awesome, awesome plan for the rest of this summer, and it's going to be absolutely great. Get yourselves entered into the Slot Limit Tournament. It's happening on the 26th of July. You're not going to want to miss it. And the multi-species scavenger hunt is going on right now. So go over to Fishing Chaos, search for all that stuff. All of those links are available at jigsandbigs.com as well. Go buy yourself some Jigs and Bigs merch. Buy some stuff for your mom, your dad, your sister, your brother, your cousins, everybody, and get yourself a chill steel pipe, because, man,
fucking ice cold bong rips are the best.
Like we always say,
Tits and ass, smoke some grass.